Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It is a game-winning Tuesday after the Eagles take care of business last night in emphatic fashion over the Vikings.
I can't hear it because your GAN wagon keeps on revving its tires up, man.
Boop, boop. Let's go. Barrett, you're on. You're invited. You're already
I was already on with you. Remember?
I know, you're in. I'm sorry. You're the co-pilot. You are my co-pilot.
You know, and D Gun he was halfway off. He was holding on by an arm, swinging in the back like this.
So you want to get on fully, Derek, or where are you?
Oh, heck, no. See, I was hanging by my hands on the rails before last night's game. Right now, my elbows are over the rail, so I'm like this.
You're like
no,
this.
no, I'm not on that wagon yet. No, this is one game.
Okay.
It was by far much better than that first game, but I'm not there yet. It's just one game, 15 to go.
Fair enough. But welcome in, everybody. Sports Take on this Tuesday. Man, it feels so much better after the Eagles win. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. That was dominance, fellas. I know it was only 24-7. If you didn't see the game, you'd say, maybe it was close for a while. Minnesota kind of hung around. And did the Eagles let their foot off the gas pedal a little bit, maybe in the second half? Yeah, but what you needed to know in that game was Jalen Hurts was magnificent. This was the coming out party, the best game of his career, and the defense basically shut down Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, Adam Thielen et al. To the point where they only put up a 7 spot. That was fun, and that was impressive, guys.
That's the best quarterback play I've seen since the Super Bowl.
Yep.
That's how good the quarterback play was. It was just an attitude yesterday, an attitude and a want to be great by everybody. It was a want to. This was a statement game that anything they put their minds to, they can accomplish it. They just got to keep that same mindset, same players, it's the same people in the play. You know what I'm saying? The same people went out there and played, but it was a different attitude on how they approached the game. Just like you say, Slay came with an attitude that, he would not be denied. He would not be stopped. And if you have that attitude, you can do anything. The offensive line, we will not get our butts kicked today. I said butts, Mom. We will not get our butts kicked today. The defensive line, we're going to get pressure on Cousins. It was just a mindset and attitude out there. That's what you saw, man. It was the players have always been there. It's just the attitude changed while they were out there.
You know what I think it was, Barrett? I think it was we won the game week 1, but we weren't happy with the way we won the game week 1. And we're going to show everybody what we really are. Derek, that was absolute command from the quarterback. He was in utter command of everything last night.
No question. He had lanes to throw to. He had enough time. If his first read wasn't open, he went to the second and third progressions. He only missed on 5 passes last night. What more could you ask from this man? He ran for 2 touchdowns, threw a beautiful deep strike to Quez Watkins for another touchdown. Obviously, he knew he was on the stage. He knew that people wanted to see if this is truly a new and improved Jalen Hurts. He went out there and balled out last night. You have to give him all the props in the world for what he was able to do. how he commanded the pressure, and even what little pressure Minnesota put on him, which I was shocked Ed Donatello didn't ramp up the blitzes more. He basically stuck with his 4-man rush, which surprised me that he never changed up the zone concept.
That's him.
That's unbelievable. That's what Seth said. And he said, Ed Donatello gets all these accolades for being this great defensive mind. Basically, he's been hanging around the game because of people he knew, and he's been in the game so long, but he's never changed his concept of playing as though he doesn't change up. That's what got him fired in Green Bay, and that's going to get him fired in Minnesota. Yeah, and
I was with him in Green Bay,
and he stunk in Green Bay. He had one good year in Green Bay, and it was all downhill after that. It's going to get him fired in Minnesota if he doesn't change, because he had to come out of that zone. You can't just sit back there and let him pick you apart like that in the zone.
Well, you can pick your poison with that, because I think if they went man to man, it'd have been worse. It'd have been worse for sure. It'd have been worse because they don't have the horses to run the race like to have them go out there and cover man. There's two, and that's the problem right there. Like,
I don't have what the Eagles have to be able to cover man.
Exactly. So that's why I was confident, and that's why I try to break down with this defense. I could see them going man to man with anybody on the field. Bradbury, Avonte Maddox, C.J. Garner-Johnson. Just like they did with Slay, they could go man to man across the board, and you don't worry about them being able to cover. It was just the guys up front. The big guys up front needed to come to the party. You know what I'm saying? They needed to come to the party. They needed to come stag too. They need to come by themselves. You know what I mean? They didn't need anybody else. They didn't bring sand to the beach. They need to come by themselves and pick up somebody while they're at the party. Take one of them offensive linemen out and dump them on their head. That's what they needed to do.
Well, that's why I said I don't understand why Donatello, why he didn't put more pressure, send more people. Just initially.
He could afford to.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, but see, okay, does Detroit have better defensive personnel?
Yes.
Than Minnesota across the board? Across the board.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
They do.
Because Detroit didn't care whether the Eagles were scoring points or not. Detroit had a mindset. They were coming to expedite the process. Okay.
Well, Degun, you told us.
This dude sat back and just said, he killed his 4 men. He killed his 4 guys up front.
Well, you don't want to say it. You don't want to say it. You don't want to broke it down to me. And I went back and watched film on it. And you were exactly right. You said that this team was based off their linebackers.
Exactly.
Their linebackers. Exactly. If their linebackers can't play well, then they wouldn't play well. That's what you told me.
Yeah, so but you got to send one. You got Eric Kendricks, Jordan Hicks. Now Za'Darius is more like a Hakeem Reddick type.
Yep.
Yeah, he's more like a Hakeem Reddick. But you got to send an extra man at least a couple times.
Well, if they did that, they really got ripped, because
maybe so.
They didn't have anybody to cover. Like the Eagles, Jalen Hurts dispersed the ball so evenly.
Yeah, I think this is more of an Eagles thing than it is a Vikings thing.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no question this was not the A.J. Brown show.
No.
Look at the first series of the game. 3 different running backs touched the ball. 4 different wide receivers caught passes on that first scoring drive. Okay. And that was the theme for this offense all night. They dispersed the ball equally across the board. Everybody got it. He had 8 different receivers in this game last night.
He had 4 receivers with 69+ yards receiving.
Well, look at this. Ed Donatello, when he was with Green Bay when I was there, he had some horses running the race. He had guys like Joe Johnson. Remember Joe Johnson?
Absolutely. Yes.
That's my cousin. That's actually my 3rd cousin.
Really?
He was there. They had Holiday. They had Gilbert Brown. They had guys that could go one-on-one and beat guys one-on-one. He didn't have that up front. I just kept telling him, Hunter's good, but Hunter's kind of, past his prime right now. He couldn't generate pressure with the guys up front, and that's what he could do. Remember Vontae Holiday, how good he was?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
He had him coming off the edge. So, and he also had what's his name? With the funny name, Akbar. DGGB, something like that.
KGB.
KGB. They had KGB there.
Yeah.
They had guys that could come, that could mix it up. He didn't have that here in with the Vikings. He couldn't get anything going because he didn't have those horses up front.
Right, and you're also dealing with a really good offensive line that made adjustments.
Exactly.
I mean, this again. I think this is an Eagles thing more than it's targeting the Vikings stuff.
Right,
but I mean, they made the adjustments with pass protection that they didn't last week, and they're already dominant in the run game. And the quarterback played as well as a quarterback can play. I mean, that was unbelievable.
We're not even crying about the number of penalties we had. Look how much wasted yards we might have had. Probably 100 yards in penalties.
It's 18 penalties in 2 games now.
Bro,
they'll clean it up.
And it was more so timing. Those were timing things there, off the line.
That happened at the beginning of last season. Remember, they had an abundance of penalties the first couple of games, and they ironed it out. They'll get it right. They'll get that right. But it's funny you should mention the offensive line play, Rob, because we had Lane Johnson on after every game, and so one of the first questions I asked Lane, because Barrett brought it up yesterday on the show, and he brought it up last week. I said, Lane, how much did Jeff Stoutland chew you guys out over the past 8 days? And his answer was, D-Gun, I wish I had a tape recorder so you could hear what he was saying. He said, this is a man who expects high standards. And when you don't live up to the highest standards, you're going to hear about it. And yes, we heard about it all week long. Yep. He says, if you could have been a fly on the wall, you'd have heard some choice conversations with Jeff Stoutland.
I believe it. And that's an accountability group. Kelsey, every chance he could last week, put it on him, put it on himself. And that's what those guys do. So I'm not surprised one bit that they got their act together. But we've seen good games from Hurts. We've seen moments from Hurts where we're blown away, but we haven't seen him put it all together like that. Where, think about what was on full display. The ability to throw a deep ball, you mentioned, D-Gun, to Watkins. The ability to drop it in the bucket, like the one that Goddard should have caught. You remember that one?
That was his best throw.
Yes, incredible throw. They had
a guy over the top, a guy underneath. He dropped the rainbow right in his pocket. Perfect. And the guy knocked it away as he was falling to the ground. I thought that was his best throw of the night.
Yeah.
Out of all the great throws he made.
No doubt. The ability on the RPO to know when to keep, when not to keep on the first touchdown, which wasn't a super long one, but he keeps it. You see the ability to cut, make a guy miss, drag guys in the end zone. And then you saw it on the later run where he's dragging 3-4 guys 5-7 yards. He's so damn strong on top of everything else.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, you just knew that guys were held accountable for their play. You knew they were going to clean up the missed tackles on defense. You knew they were going to clean up the missed tackles. Assignment bust they were going to clean up. There's a lot of times that the defense didn't look right because guys didn't know where they were supposed to be. Like, say what you want to say, C.J. Garner-Johnson, he played a good game last week, but he just didn't know where he was supposed to be at times, which hurt him. He didn't know where his run fit was because his safety. He wasn't, he didn't play safety while he was with the Saints, the past 2 years. So he just had to learn what he needed to do. And once he figured it out, he's figuring it out, he's where he's supposed to be. And when he gets there with a purpose. He gets there with an attitude, man. He really does. So, I can only see his game becoming better and better. I can see those, Bradbury and what really set us apart was Slay's. I heard with Slay at the end of the game. Because they said, look, he's the best in the world. But, hey, so am I.
Yeah.
And that attitude right there is what they need.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Lane Johnson knew he was going to get reamed out all week about not necessarily them being soft, but this is not the standards that we live up to, as an offensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles. Coach Stoutland was downright embarrassed of what he saw. So you saw the significant change in the way the attitude was there.
Yeah.
You saw Jordan Mailata. He came out there with a purpose. Lane Johnson came out there fired up. Kelsey's flying around. You have the athletes to be very good.
How about Goddard downfield blocking?
That's crazy. And it should have been holding on him, actually, on the DB anyways.
Yeah.
On the linebacker anyways. It should have been holding on him, but they didn't throw the flag, so he just turned around and blocked the guy. But it should have been holding on that play.
They had Cousins shook. Cousins was straight up shook in that game.
But that's the MO on him. If you get pressure on him up the middle, he's not the same quarterback. We can talk about the Eagles playing the perfect storm, but they gave the Vikings an opportunity to get back this game and make you sweat. A block kick, and of all people, Sippos runs down Patrick Peterson. That tells you how much of a step Patrick Peterson has lost. A ricochet interception, that should have been caught by Gainwell. And what is he doing? He throws floaters. You got a guy like Justin Jefferson. He's throwing dying quails up there. He didn't even put it in a position for Jefferson to compete for the ball. Mm-hmm. What the heck was he doing? It all was predicated by the Eagles getting pressure on the middle of him. That's the MO on Cousins. If you try to get him from the outside, he's going to do like a lot of good quarterbacks. He's going to step up and have an extra second to deliver. If you come at him from up the middle, that's not his ball game. He does not like to play that kind of football, and it showed last night.
Yeah.
Well, they
No,
say that, a lot of the times why he didn't play. My fault, Rob.
No, you're good. You're good.
A lot of times he didn't play great on Monday nights or play good on prime time games.
Yeah.
It's because he's one of those guys, that everything has to be perfect. He's caught in a routine, and anytime he gets out of that routine, he plays accordingly. He plays in that. All right, well, this is a change. I don't play well with change. I heard he's like one of those type of guys. I don't know what you call it. I mean, it's some type of it has a name. It's not like Rain Man or something, but kind of sort of in the same sense that everything has to be the same way every single. I gotta have Cheerios in the morning, dry Cheerios in the morning.
Sounds like somebody I know.
And either water or iced tea. I mean, it's that type of deal.
And no honey
I'm
nut
the Kirk
Cheerios.
Cousins of sports talk radio. No.
Yeah, no honey nut Cheerios.
No,
Got to be dry Cheerios.
absolutely not. We can't.
No,
have
I'm just joshing with you, man. I'm just joking with you, man. But
it's true.
It had more so to do with everything that the defense and how they felt about the way they played needed to change, and they came out with an authoritative mindset that we're better than what we played, and we're going to show you we're better. We come in with a nasty attitude. It's that want to, man. That's all it was. Yeah. Defense is nothing but want to, and they came out and they wanted to kick their tail.
It was one of those atmospheres. Like the place was on fire. Like that really was playoff football.
OCD. That's what OCD. Okay, my fault. OCD.
That really was playoff football though last night. I mean, that had that sense, that feel to it. You had all the stars there last night on top of everything else.
Right.
The other players from around the city there last night, but it was I mean, utter dominance. You think about it, like that easily could have been a game in the 40s for the Eagles, like somewhere in that neighborhood. And you're right, Barrett. Clean up the penalties. There's things. There were at least 2 dropped interceptions. Like that could have been destruction. They're not there yet, but they took huge strides from week 1 to week 2. This was enormous.
2. Slay should have had 5 interceptions last night.
Yeah.
He could have made the Pro Bowl off that one game last night.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he definitely made the Pro Bowl off that one game because he literally dominated Jefferson. He dominated him. There was nothing he could do.
Yeah.
He was in his hip pocket the entire day. So, I mean, it just comes with an attitude, man. I love the attitude that they came out with. You could see in their eyes that they were dead set on playing the game of their lives. And they just got to keep playing like that, and it's an attitude when you get on the field, that the Steelers had when we won the Super Bowl.
Hey, wait a minute. Wait, what was
Fitness Rebel is correct.
You're right.
What? Wait, we agreed to sing if they won?
Yes, we did.
I thought there was another stipulation involved.
There was another stipulation.
There was? I thought it was just if they win.
I thought it was another stipulation.
I knew they were going to win. I knew they were going to win.
Yeah,
I think Fitness Rebel's right.
I picked the Eagles to win.
Yeah. I think we have to sing, guys. I think maybe we'll do it at the beginning of the next segment.
Rob just wants to sing because he wants everybody to know he also has a golden tone.
No, you're the singer of our group, of our band here, our trio. Yeah. You're the singer, D.
Yeah, if it was the Jackson 3, I'm Tito. All right?
I'm Jermaine.
I'm Tito. I don't sing.
Ooh,
I just play the guitar, bro.
Yeah,
I play the guitar.
Wow.
I hear it. So we will do it. We'll do it. We're men of our word.
Hey, did you see Xander said 750 likes?
Was that
can we do it? 750 likes?
That's how we. No, I would say that's a lot.
We're just gonna do it, man. Fitness Rebel. You say you want. We're gonna.
Hey, how about we do this? How about today we set our all-time record for likes?
There we go.
The Eagles won last night. We're going to crush Eagles all day long, but let's crush the like button. What's our all-time record? Is it 500?
It was. Wait, what was it for me to sing? Wasn't it 350? It was 350 for me to sing. I know we've gotten close to 400 before.
All right, let's shoot for 4. 4 is a fair number. Let's see if we can get to 4 today. All right, let's do that. Let's see if we get to 4, peeps. Let's do this thing.
400 and we sing?
No, we'll sing anyway. I think. Yeah,
only if Barrett leads. Barrett has the lead.
Barrett has the lead. Barrett can lead it.
I mean, after all, he played for the Eagles, so he was there 4 years, so therefore he should know the fight song inside and out.
How about Barrett starts? I'll pick it up and then you close it out because you're the only real singer here.
What is this? Why am I? Why? Come on, man.
Well, you play for the Eagles. I'm sure the lyrics up on the wall somewhere in the building.
Was it the same lyrics when I was playing? I don't think that song was even a song back then.
It wasn't as big then, but it was around.
It was just those guys. It was that band. What was that band that got the
Oh, with the banjos and stuff.
Yeah, banjos.
Skull and Bobby Manchur and the boys. Yes.
Yeah.
So all right, we will do that. We will sing today. But think about this. Like, there's so many like stats to dig into, not to geek out too much here, but Kirk Cousins is your leading rusher with 20 yards.
Yep.
We haven't even gotten into it. Dalvin Cook was a total non-factor.
17 total yards.
17 yards, yeah.
Justin Jefferson, 6 catches, 48 yards. That is dominance for the guy who's had more receiving yards than anybody the first 2 years of his career. Just owned him. Just completely owned him. Cousins stunk. He flat out stunk in that game. I mean, this was both sides of the ball, man. They couldn't do anything against the Eagles.
You held that offense to under 300 total yards of offense. You had 3 interceptions. Adam Thielen didn't even get a ball until the fourth quarter.
It was total garbage time with Thielen.
It was total garbage time with him. He was the leading receiver, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was the leading receiver. It was all late stuff. You put up almost 500 yards of offense against that team. I don't know if you can have a more perfect storm on a grand stage like Monday Night Football. I really don't.
It was that kind of performance, man. And look, I thought it was going to be close. I thought the Eagles would win. I told you I thought they'd kick a field goal late, and that's how they would win. I thought it was going to be that close a game. But
wait, a win is a win. I don't do all that.
No, I'm with you, Barry. And you had them Eagles winning comfortably.
You know. But I think it's more so. I mean, just everything. Everybody played. I can't say it enough, and you're going to keep hearing me say it. Eagles played with a purpose. When you play with a purpose, it's easy to go out there and execute. They played with a purpose because they were downright embarrassed that they allowed 35 points on their defense. They were embarrassed that that they took that they let their quarterback get beat up the way they did. They were embarrassed because of that. Mm-hmm. So because of that, they played it enough. Look the way Sanders was running the pill, man, running the rock, and then we got to do it, man. We got to start giving our offensive coordinators some props, man.
Yeah, Steichen was hitting every right note.
Great game. And then when he was his way he had people coming in and out. Mm-hmm. I mean, when he here he is Sanders, boom, boom, he's breaking it. 5 yards here, 6 yards here. And that's one thing we have to understand. A 3-yard run is not a bad run.
No.
Because you get a 3-yard run and then a 4-yard run, you're 3rd and 3.
Very manageable.
And
especially for a guy with Hurts wheels.
And you can make that happen. So we got to get out that every play has to be a big play. Every play has to be a home run play. No, just keep the chains moving. Mm-hmm. And then when he turned around, and I love the fact they called the draw play with Boston Scott.
Man, beautiful call. Beautiful.
And then all right, we're gonna run it again.
Yep.
We're in the same
until they stop
again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, once Jalen Hurts start on the RPO, start tucking and running from the outside, that froze Minnesota's outside containment.
Yep.
All of a sudden, you got gaping holes up the middle because all the linebackers were flowing to Hurts going to the outside. All of a sudden, prime example, that draw play where he faked like he was going to pass it and handed it off to Boston Scott. Mm-hmm. Man, he had an alley to run through up the middle, man. And that was the theme for the whole night.
Yeah,
once Hurts hit him on the outside and hurt him a number of times running those RPOs, you know what? The running backs had lanes for days to run through.
Bro, I turned around and it was a play. It was an incomplete pass, but he tried to hit. I forget who it was underneath, and I saw in the back Quez Watkins going over the top. And as soon as Hurts let it go, I looked like, oh my God, look how he was wide. Look how Quez Watkins was wide open, going on a little 9 route. I was like, man, I can't believe how open he was. Turn back around. The very next play, they flipped the formation, put him on the other side, run the exact same play again, over the top, Quez Watkins by himself.
Out of a timeout. Yeah, they saw it.
Out of yeah. So I'm like, bro. I said, because I was in there, oh, did you guys see Quez Watkins? I'm sitting there, oh, did you guys see that? Mm-hmm. He said, yeah. So Pat went back and rewind and said, yeah, but he let the ball go. As soon as he let the ball go, that safety jumped that route. And Quez was like Scott. I'm like, oh, he needs to hit that. He needs to hit that. Then went to a timeout. Came back to the next play, flipped the formation, and I'll be darned if he wasn't wide open by himself. The same play, they just ran it to the other side. That's being aware of what happened. Then download the information to Steichen. Walker's like, look, I'm beating them over the top. They can't compete with my speed. And Harrison Smith is just not that guy anymore. He used to be my favorite safety. He's just not that guy anymore, man. He's
been around a long time.
Yeah, all the time. I played on the same field as him, so he's old.
Yeah. No, well, I tell you what stands out to me And look, this doesn't always translate into wins and
Just playing,
everybody
I ain't
being on the
played
same
with him,
page. Huh?
I'm saying just playing. I never played against him.
Oh.
I was doing the
I
math in my
would've
head. And
believed
I'm thinking,
No,
wait a minute.
that'd be he played like 16 years.
Yeah.
I just been watching
He's
for a
probably
long
in like
time.
his 13th year, though.
Oh
Around
yeah,
there, 12.
no question about that.
I'm sitting there
13th
going,
year,
wait a minute.
yeah.
I'm doing math. I'm like, wait a minute. Barrett played with Harrison Smith.
No.
There's
There's
still
not
a
many
few guys left. Brady, a couple other guys.
Brady, yeah, exactly. Brady, I played.
Yeah,
I was on the
there's a
same
few
field with
others.
him.
A few others. What stands out to me is how talented this team is.
Yep.
Across the board on both sides. I mean, you have an incredibly talented offensive line, receiving core, the upgrade from A.J. Brown, from Jalen Reagor's revenge game to A.J. Brown, to your running attack, to what you have at the quarterback, to the other side of the ball. And I still don't think the defensive line has hit their stride anywhere near it. But the linebackers, T.J. Edwards was out of his mind. He was shot out of a cannon last night. To your defensive backs. I mean, this is an across the board. I'm not telling you they're Buffalo or anything like that, but I'm just telling you, they're in any consideration in terms of a top 5 best roster.
Well,
they are that talented.
You ain't never lie. You ain't told nothing but the truth. But to what you're saying, man, the sky's the limit. But they got to keep the same attitude. I'll reference it again. When I played for the Steelers, as an attitude that when we were in practice, we were playing against the best players in the world. I'm going against Casey Hampton. I know there was no nose guard better than Casey Hampton. The one-on-one mental battles that Ben Roethlisberger had playing against Troy Polamalu, Ryan Clark, those type of guys. You had guys like San Antonio Holmes and you had great wide receivers out there with Hines Ward going against our secondary. And we're thinking, man, it's harder in practice than it is in games. And 9 times out of 10, it was because we felt as though our team was the best team. Our defensive line back, man, it's easier going against guys that we don't have to practice it every day. That offensive line we had was amazing going against that defensive line. So once they get that type of attitude, like when they walk on the field, they know they're going to win, not because they're saying it, but because they're going out and executing it. It really bodes well.
It was all there last night. It was all there on full display. That's for sure. All right. So, like I said, we're going to blow the Eagles out today. We'll do some NFL stuff as well. Bills rolled the Titans last night. I had 2 teams heading in 2 different directions, the Bills and the Titans. That's for sure. But we'll get into that. EJ Smith from the Philadelphia Inquirer, a good friend of the show, is going to be joining us next. We'll talk to EJ. Get his thoughts on everything that went down. But that was one of those performances, and we see them every once in a while where you just kind of step back and say, whoa, man, this is what this team could potentially do. And they didn't beat up on some awful team either. Like, you're talking about a team that came in riding high after beating the Packers the week before, and they crush them like that. That was impressive, man. So a lot more on the Birds. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We're Sports Take on this Eagles Tuesday. Yes, let's hit the lights. All right, knowing who to trust with your finances can be scary, and I am right there in the front of that line. But I can tell you from personal experience that someone I trust is Jim Murray with Principal Financial Group. For years, I was searching for the right person to know who to trust with my hard-earned money, and I found that right person, whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review. You might have a small business, not sure how to set up your employee benefits. He can help you with that. And if you have questions about anything else, he's there to counsel you and get you through it and steer you in the right direction. I've entrusted my IRA, some 401k rollovers with Jim, and I couldn't be any happier. You can be too. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751, or you can email him at Murray, MURRAY.Jim@principal.com, Murray.Jim@principal.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community, a sports roundup for the locals, and the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
Sleep last night, it made it a little bit easier waking up after the Eagles put it on the Vikings last night as we continue this Eagles discussion. You all right, Gunner? You okay? You'll be okay?
No, I got to bed at 3 a.m. and I drove 2 hours back here, got back home at 11:30 this morning. So if you see me like this.
Oh, poor guy. You'll be all right. Just get the 3, man. That's all you
coffee,
need to do.
man. Get some coffee, man. We got
to
roll.
Yeah,
we got to roll.
That's it.
We
All
can't
right.
put the lefty in.
I can already see him. He's looking bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and he joins us right now. Does a phenomenal job covering the Eagles.
EJ!
The Philadelphia Inquirer. You can follow him as well on Twitter at EJSmith94. What's happening, EJ? How you doing, man?
I don't know about bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but I'm here.
You're here. That's all that matters. Hey, what's the old saying that half of life is just showing up, right? That's it, man. As long as you just show up, that's for sure. So, EJ, look, if you're the Eagles, if you're an Eagles fan, it really doesn't get much better than what last night was. I mean, it was all there on full display for you. But we got to start with the headliner, and that's Jalen Hurts. I mean, to me, by far the most complete game we've seen him play. This was, I think, nationally, we kind of know what he's capable of potentially, but this is the coming out party. What was your sense? Why did he look so much in command last night as opposed to moments where you'd see it and sometimes it wasn't quite there?
Well, I think that this is the culmination of what he's been talking about all summer. You know, I mean, it's in my nature to be skeptical, right? So when he says this is the first time I've had, the same offensive coordinator, the same play caller for 2 years in a row, when he talks about the mechanics, the time he spent in the offseason working on his mechanics. And, the coaching staff said all summer, he's quicker with his decisions. He looks more decisive, looks more accurate. I was in a wait and see mode with all that stuff. And I think Monday night, last night, that performance was the culmination of all that stuff. And you could see the work that he put in the offseason. You could see that he looks more comfortable in the offense. I mean, there were throws last night that he would not have made last season. Yep. I mean, just flat out. Yes. There were the throw to Goddard at the end of the first half to get him in field goal range. I mean, that's a strike down the middle of the field. It's well timed. He was confident in how he threw it. He threw it right where it needed to be. Those are the types of throws that everyone wanted to see from him, and now he's starting to put it together. So, yeah, I mean, I like to always say, I try not to be on the roller coaster of the season. But, man, I mean, it's undeniable. I mean, it was his best game of his career by far, and it was really just a really, really awesome half. You know, I
right.
mean, in the second half,
Yeah.
they kind of hit a stall a little bit. But no, I mean, it's encouraging. It's absolutely encouraging. There's really no other way to put it.
EJ, I said that the best throw he threw of the night was the pass that Goddard didn't catch down the sideline when you had coverage underneath and over the top. He put a rainbow right on the money, and that's part of that maturation process we've been waiting to see, not just being able to air it out, but those touch passes as well. And that was as perfect of a touch pass as you could lay in there between two defenders.
Yeah, and I mean, it was just a really good play by Cameron Dantzler to break it up because it was, I mean, Goddard got up there and got it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next incompletion was, he took a shot to A.J. Brown down the sideline. You're not going to be mad about that.
No.
I mean, yeah, for those first 20 passing attempts, I mean, he was about as sharp as you can be. And like I said, the questions going into this season were mostly around Jalen Hurts offensively. Obviously you had questions about Gannon and the scheme, but on offense, they had the talent. It was, can Jalen Hurts maximize it? And, I wrote this in my instant analysis after the game. On Monday night, Jalen had all the answers.
When you look
well said.
When you look at this thing, though, do you say it's a travesty by Ed Donatello not really challenging Jalen, or is it just Jalen just being, in a zone? And, just like Jordan used to say, sometimes there were times at night where I just felt like I wanted the game to last forever. Well, I know he wanted this game to last forever. What do you think it was? Was it a direct correlation with that, or do you think it was just Jalen? This is who Jalen is.
Yeah, I don't want to take away from what Jalen did, but I do think that, this is why we need the full season because, week one, he had the man coverage heavy Detroit Lions. They blitzed a lot. And, I tweeted it out like, if you're going to play man coverage against Jalen Hurts on third down, he's going to run for almost 100 yards and he's going to break your back a couple of times. Now, this week was the complete opposite side of the spectrum. Zone heavy team, not a lot of blitzes. And you're right, Barrett. They didn't really they didn't challenge him that much. But, I mean, he can only play the teams that are in front of him. So
that's right.
This is why I'm not coming on here saying that they're going to give him a $240 billion extension by the end of the week. I think it was a really encouraging performance. And, again, it's a performance that I don't think he would have been able to pull off last season. So you're seeing the progress. But, yeah, I do think that the Vikings secondary, definitely they seem not only did they seem like, discombobulated at times, obviously the Quez Watkins play. Was a really well drawn up play by Nick and Shane Steichen, but it was also, I mean, let's face it, it was a busted coverage. You don't want a guy running down the field wide open like that.
It was a busted coverage that happened the play before. They took a timeout, they came back out, they flipped the whole formation, and they ran the exact same plays they did before, and that's why Watkins was wide open. They did the same thing.
Yeah,
I mean, the backside safety bit on the underneath route, and he just went over the top. Same exact thing.
Now, that's what's going to be interesting as the league kind of shifts toward this Fangio influence, too high shell world where, I mean, I feel like a lot of defensive backs don't love that playing style. And, I mean, you could hear it. Well, I read it in the quotes from the Vikings players after the game. I think they wanted to change things up. I think they were starting to realize, like, this isn't working. And, especially with Jalen Hurts, he works a half a field a lot of the time. And, when you have that one high safety and it's kind of like the same exact picture every single time, I mean, the Eagles offensive play caller, Shane Steichen, and Nick obviously is the one who kind of designs the offense. Those guys took advantage of, what they expected to see. It's what they've seen all summer with Jonathan Gannon. It's obviously a very similar scheme. And I think you could tell they had comfortability kind of knowing what to get to when they needed a play. They definitely had the answers when they needed something.
EJ, you brought up Gannon. I mean, let's go there. The defense that got beat up pretty bad week one in Detroit. If I would have told you before the game, you're looking at Justin Jefferson with 6 catches, 48 yards. You're looking at Kirk Cousins with 221 yards, but 3 interceptions and a 51.1 passer rating. Dalvin Cook, 6 rushes, 17 yards. I mean, you would have said, sign me up right now. And that's really what it was. You saw a veteran quarterback look really shook last night by what was going on.
Yeah, and Kirk Cousins will do that for you sometimes now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, listen, credit to the defense because, that was one of the things coming into this game was Kirk Cousins will do that if you can get in his face a couple of times. And, I mean, watching back that fourth quarter this morning, I mean, every single pass, Kirk Cousins looks like Dirk Nowitzki on a fadeaway. He just can't step into anything. It's unbelievable. So, I mean, and that's Gannon's thing is like, he talks about sacks aren't necessarily the end-all, be-all in the scheme, which is a departure from like what Eagles fans are used to. With Jim Schwartz, it was that attacking front four, and they wanted to get to the quarterback, and they wanted to basically limit explosive plays through pressure. Now with Gannon's scheme, they're limiting it with softer coverage, and as a result, the ball gets out quicker. And sometimes guys aren't going to get home, they're not going to get sacks, but Javon Hargrave had a really, really key pressure on the first Darius Slay interception. Josh Sweat was getting to Kirk Cousins, and again, like I said, it was obviously affecting him that the pressure was getting home. And credit to Gannon for switching it up a little bit. I mean, they blitzed a good amount last night. Some of those blitzes were really well timed, and some of them lead to Hassan Reddick chasing tight ends in coverage. So we got to call it both ways. But I do think that the way that the game plan was laid out was definitely advantageous for the Eagles. They got what they needed to get as far as the pass rush, and the secondary played lights out. I mean, credit to the players most of all, especially Darius Slay, who was matched up against Justin Jefferson for most of the night.
So EJ, are you getting on the Rob Ellis bandwagon like him and Barrett, or are you like me? I'm hanging off the back of the rail. I refuse to get into the bandwagon.
Don't listen to the haters,
bandwagon yet. I still need to see more.
Come on.
I like the Gamwagon. So
yes.
I think I'm reluctant. Oh, sorry. I like the term. I like the phrase. I'm with you, Gunner. I'm not quite ready.
EJ, you built me up, man, and then you took me right down. That's not cool.
I
sorry.
Apologize. I like the name though. Gamwagon's good, but
I'm gonna get the T-shirts. I am trademarking that bad boy, by the way. Okay.
But you know what? Like, just like I said with Jalen Hurts, like the progress, I'm not sure Jonathan Gannon's scheme last year has success against Kirk Cousins. I mean, Kirk Cousins it's like the Mendoza line with quarterbacks, right? Like, if they play well against the Eagles, then they're probably top 15. If they don't play well against the Eagles, they're probably bottom 15. Well, I don't know I think Kirk Cousins might have had a little bit more success against last year's group. That said, I'm not quite there yet. I still think there are some things there that you look at and it's like, now, like the Hassan Reddick and coverage thing doesn't always bother me. It's going to happen sometimes.
It irritates the heck out of me.
It's situational, right? The first third down in the game, they dropped him so they could rush TJ Edwards. It's called the sim pressure. It's kind of, I call it like a trendy new thing in the league. And my dad corrects me. He's like, that's pretty old, actually. They've been doing that a while. But still they drop Hassan and they rush TJ and they get pressure off of it. So, when it works, it works. But yeah, I agree with you. Sometimes it's like, I don't want that guy chasing tight ends and running backs on third down in coverage. That's not what you paid him all that money to do. So I do think there's still some things that they probably are going to have to iron out against some of the better offenses in the league. But let's make no mistake. I mean, Minnesota put up a lot of points against the Green Bay Packers, who have a good defense. And I think Minnesota's a good football team. I know, they didn't necessarily play like it last night, but I think they definitely have a lot of talent, especially on offense.
Well, then there it is. We're talking about all the glaring stuff they did right, but there's plenty of coachable stuff that they have. That they're getting the timing down on passing, read option plays. Even screen plays. Offensive line, they would have 4 penalties with being downfield. Like you said, the Hassan Reddick thing. Even as far as Davis, Davis taking more than 2 plays and had to come out. I heard Richie and Rob last night, and that's a concern Richie has, that maybe he's not ready to play more than 2 plays in a row.
Yeah.
When he's out there, he's effective for 1 or 2 plays, and then after that, it's kind of like he's staying straight up. So there are plenty of coachable things in there that they could work on, But after this assessment, you have to at least put them in the top. Where would you put them? Top 4 in the NFC?
Yeah, I mean, top 4, top 3. The NFC, it's kind of one of those weird things this year where there's not really like a clear team that you would point to.
Right.
I thought San Francisco was going to be pretty good this year. I'm a little bit cautious on that now. Green Bay, kind of the same thing. I mean, yeah, I can't think of the Rams, obviously Super Bowl defending champs, but they look like they might have taken a step back. I mean, it's going to take them a little while to get their footing. So yeah, there's not really a team. I think it's going to be matchup dependent by the time we get to the playoffs. Getting a team that you match up favorably to, or maybe avoiding a team that, has a scheme that might be tougher for Jalen Hurts or the Eagles defense or whatever it is. So yeah, I definitely think that, again, we went into the season like, I'm always skeptical. It's like, let's see them play a couple games first, and at least 2 games in now, it's like, okay, they have the talent. They're going to out talent some teams this season, and they're just going to, they're going to have to be in these bigger games against these good teams. And I mean, there was talk going into this game like, oh, this could help decide like, the 4 seed in the NFC playoffs. I mean, the Minnesota Vikings, again, like I said, they're a good team. Mm-hmm. So now I do think it's top 4, top 3 at this point, especially when you think about what's going on with Dallas right now. I mean, they definitely have helped their position in the last 2 weeks.
Hey, EJ, this was like the perfect storm on both sides of the ball for the Eagles last night. And not to nitpick, but as we're watching the game last night, which I'm screaming, why don't the Eagles run more stunts up front? And they finally run one in the fourth quarter, and Josh Sweat gets a sack. And I'm thinking, why do they not run more stunts? They have the personnel to do it. Why not do it? I think it would be so much more effective because they did have, 2 quarterback sacks officially. And they put consistent pressure on Cousins right up the middle, which forced them to hurry some throws. But for me, they didn't get him down enough. Considering the way this game was played out, they didn't put him on his back enough in this game.
No, I agree with you. Now, part of that is because Cousins gets skittish back there and starts throwing it up.
Yeah, true.
But no, I'm with you. I mean, even on Fletcher Cox's strip sack, I'm pretty sure that was a stunt too. At least on the other side, I know Sweat ran a tee with whoever. I think it was Hargrave or Milton Williams. I don't know exactly, but yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, they definitely were getting home on a couple of those stunts in the fourth quarter. I mean, whether it's that or you go with a 5-down look and you just get one-on-ones across the board. I mean, there's got to be some more creative ways there to get the front involved because, yeah, I mean, I remember I tweeted this in like the second quarter because, like, you know, Vikings were down 14-0. It's like, you know, under Jim Schwartz, this is exactly when the Eagles defense pins their ears back and they start making the Vikings one-dimensional, start getting to the quarterback. And I think that was the drive the Vikings scored. So it's like, you know, not quite there yet. So I do think that you're right. They got to probably get a little bit more creative in trying to generate pressure here.
Well, they got a little more diversity in their coverage also. The mere fact that they had Slay traveling with you know, Jefferson. Sometimes is that's big to me, and that just shows he's comfortable enough to have Avonte Maddox, Bradbury, even, you know, CJ Garner Johnson go man to man on the outside with other people. So, I mean, that comfort level gives me the sense that, all right, even if we do go against one of the top notch wide receivers, we can put Slay on them, and everybody else in the back end won't miss a beat.
Yeah,
that was probably.
That was honestly probably the best Slay's played since he's been here. I mean, he was playing out of his mind. You know, I think it was Darius Butler said it was teach tape what he was doing last night, and I agree. Like that was impressive stuff. Yeah, right.
How about EJ? How about the play? Slay kind of tweaks on. He said he landed awkwardly, whatever it was. They're trying to say, come out. No, I'm staying in. And then he gets a pick on the very next play after he waves the ball. I mean, that was like, it's because it's defense, we probably don't give it as much love as we should. If that's a receiver playing at that level that he was playing at last night, it's celebrated, you know, universally. But because it's the D-back, he doesn't get quite as much love.
Yeah, he probably knew he was getting another one his way. I mean, Cousins was tossing a lot toward him, you know, not with not much accuracy. But no, I mean, get back to your point, B. Brooks, like that was the secondary played out of its mind. The whole group did. I mean, Bradbury had a couple missed tackles, but in coverage, he was really good. And, you know, credit to Gannon because, like, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is the type of guy you can play all over. And I was curious, like, are they just going to put him in the post for, you know, 100% of his snaps and make him play a position he's never played before? But to Gannon's credit, he's a too-high guy. You know, he wants to live in that too-high world, but he drops Gardner-Johnson a good amount, you know. It kind of lets them vary what they do pre-snap, you know, kind of show different looks. And I do think that as the season progresses, Gardner Johnson being able to kind of man up against, you know, tight ends and, you know, bigger slot receivers, being able to kind of get in their face and play man coverage, that's going to be on money downs for the Eagles this year.
I'll tell you what I like too. A little thing, guys, running a play right away for Devontae. I know Devontae said all week, I'm good. I don't care. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But I think it's just, I don't know, for lack of a better term, a cool thing to do to kind of get him going early and a smart thing to do.
Yeah, they were like really stressing that all week. You know, like Nick in the post-game press conference after Detroit, like it just said, we got to get Devontae more involved. And I did think it was like a little bit like you guys, you know, I think it was one of my colleagues said like, imagine Andy Reid on that topic. He would just be like, he'll get his, not a big deal. And like, you know, I did think like he'll be fine, you know. And I talked to Devontae after the Lions game, and he was not feeling sorry for himself. He was completely cool, you know. He said that's how the game went. I'll have my games too. But I agree with you. I think that it's, you know, Nick Sirianni always talks about it, you know, connecting with his players and being in tune with them. And I think that, you know, getting Devontae involved early was definitely the message. Like, hey, we think you're going to have a big year. You know, we probably should have had you more involved last week too, but I mean, listen, when you have A.J. Brown over there, it's kind of like hitting the easy button.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like, all right, A.J. Brown slant, 12-yard gain, let's keep it moving. So
Yeah.
I think they're still trying to figure it all out. But no, Devontae's a good player, man. I mean, he's the type of guy who at some point now I think he's going to take a leap. You know, usually young receivers, year 2, year 3, it kind of clicks for him. So, yeah, I do think that he's going to be a big part of the offense. But you're right. I mean, getting him involved early was definitely it was 1,000% intentional. They wanted to make sure he knew he was going to be a part of the game plan.
Hey, EJ, are you comfortable with the way Gannon is using Reddick up to this point? I mean, 2 games, no sacks. Now, everybody's salivating. This man had 23.5 sacks. They want to see sacks. We know he has a deficiency when it comes to defending the run and in pass coverage. He's a pure pass rusher, plain and simple. Are you comfortable with his role right now? Because I'm watching how he's playing, and I'm thinking, you got to move this guy around a little bit more. You got to move him around the way Dallas does with Michael Parsons, the way Minnesota does with Zadarius Smith. You cannot have him being a stationary target on one side the whole game and allow them to pick him off to know where he is at all times.
Yeah, I do think that, like, you know, if you look at what he did in Carolina and Arizona, they definitely they scheme some things up for him. Like,
right.
You know, we talked about games earlier and we talked about him dropping into coverage. I think that there's going to be times, you know, we saw it during camp, like, that he would line up in the A gap and, you know, kind of rush from there. I think that they probably can, you know, afford to give him some more varied looks instead of just, you know, kind of put him in that Josh Sweat role where it's like, you're just going to rush off the edge 40 times tonight, like, you know, or whatever it is. And so, yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about it earlier. I'm kind of conflicted, but I think I've settled on, I'm not super, when he drops into coverage, sometimes I'm like, yeah, you can't have this guy chasing around tight ends. But if he's dropping in the middle of the field and just kind of being a body in space and, you know, generating that confusion for a quarterback to go, wait a second, like, you know, this is different than what I saw pre-snap, I can get on board with that a couple times a game. But, yeah, I agree with you. I do think that he's going to need to be, you know, maybe schemed up a little bit more because he's a great pass rusher. And it doesn't take away from him if he's getting schemed up. It's just, you know, some guys – you know, kind of just mix it up. You know, Brandon Graham has a lot of different alignments. Fletcher Cox does too. You know, it's just kind of part of the equation.
I was on. Go ahead, Barry.
Sorry about that.
No, you got it.
Where do you see Davis?
What have I seen from him?
Yeah, what are you seeing from him? Where do you see him at this point?
Well, I think I mean, I think he's been, you know, as advertised against the run. You know, he's disruptive against the run and he allows them, and this is the biggest thing with him, is he allows them to really commit to that 5 front when they want to. You know, if they want to put 5 down, Hargrave is a really good one tech, but Davis is just like the quintessential nose tackle, plug it up, nobody can run up the middle. But I think actions speak louder than words with this. Like, you know, they said that they thought he could, you know, affect the passer. They aren't playing him on 3rd downs. They clearly don't think he can affect the passer right now. I don't know if it's a conditioning thing. Like, I talked to him about that, and he says, like, I played 10 straight plays all the time in training camp. Like, you know, it's not a conditioning thing. I think that right now is probably just bringing him along slowly and acknowledging, like, we've got Javon Hargrave, we've got Fletcher Cox, BG plays on the inside, sometimes on pass rushing downs.
Sweat the first play in that 50 front.
Yeah,
Sweat
blew
came in
from the 4-eye. Yeah, right. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just like, you know, I think that there's a lot of guys in front of him who are probably better pass rushers at this point. But, you know, and I don't think that that's a sign like of, you know, major concern. But it is like, again, like actions speak louder than words. These guys said that, oh, yeah, we think he can rush the passer. He didn't do it at Georgia, but we think he can do it. Well, maybe it's going to take him a little bit of time to really develop as a pass rusher. And, you know, if his first year is like you're a gap stuffing nose tackle, you know, he's probably got to play a little bit more than he's playing right now to really justify that. But, you know, if he's mostly an early down player or goal line situation player this year, I still think that was, you know, justifiable for the pick. I think 2 or 3 years from now, if that's still all he is, then that's when you're going to start to wonder, like, okay, like, you know, there were some other guys on the board that, you know, you probably could have justified just because it's like, how much of a premium is it to have a, you know, 2-down nose tackle, you know, that you spent a 1st-round pick on. But I don't think we're there yet. I think we got a long ways before that's a major concern.
I'll tell you who I thought was also spectacular last night, EJ, was TJ Edwards. I mean, he was everywhere. And also, I thought really good in pass coverage. You know, I know, you know, we don't necessarily look at him as that kind of linebacker, but maybe he's growing into that. I mean, 10 tackles, tackle for a loss, pass defense, you know, a hit on a quarterback. He was everywhere, man.
So this is my thing with linebackers. It's like, sorry, this might be a little bit of a rant for me. So
do it, man.
Like, so that position is so instinctual. That position is so much reading your keys and making quick decisions. So people get so infatuated with like athletes, like, not to throw like shade at Davion Taylor here, but like people get so infatuated with Davion Taylor and like Isaiah Simmons and these guys who are crazy, crazy athletes, but they're raw. And it's like, well, if I could just teach them to, if I could just teach them to be instinctual, it's like a lot of those guys aren't going to get there. If you're not instinctual by the time you get in the NFL, that's a real lottery ticket to say like, okay, I'm going to teach you to have NFL instincts. TJ Edwards is like the exact opposite of those guys. Wasn't lauded as a great athlete coming out of college. Like we don't consider him a great coverage guy because he's not the best athlete, but guess what? Like he's a smart football player. Like he's quick. He makes quick decisions and he plays fast because he knows what he's doing out there. He's comfortable out there. It's like you want to make, even if it's like your coaches will tell you like, oh, if you're going to make a mistake, make it at 1,000 miles an hour. Like not only does he not make mistakes, but he plays that 1,000 miles an hour. So he can kind of overcome some of those athletic deficiencies that he has on paper because the guy is just, he plays fast. He plays smart. So yeah, even in coverage, like he knows what he's looking at and he can get to the spots he needs to get to. So yeah, I mean, I think as far as like, obviously like he's not like Fred Warner or Eric Kendricks or anybody like that. But as far as like passable linebackers, which is what the Eagles are really looking for, they don't want to pay big money for these guys. I mean, TJ is like exactly what you want in that role. Like he's going to have a lot of tackles. He's going to have great stats, but he's not going to necessarily like be this high priced linebacker, but he's just rock solid. And yeah, I mean, he's fun to watch, because he plays fast, he plays hard. So yeah, no, I thought he had a great game.
All right. Lastly, I know you haven't probably done a ton of advanced work here on Washington, but they're 1-1. They lose to the team the Eagles, kind of escaped and won week 1. You got any kind of vibe off of them right now, or a little too early yet in the week?
Well, I watched some of the game. NFL Sunday Ticket was giving me a nightmare. It was my only Sunday to watch football.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I was pretty frustrated, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I mean, I think Washington's got some talented pass catchers. I really like Terry McLaurin. Like, I think he's one of the more underrated receivers in the league. But I mean, he's probably not better than Justin Jefferson. So the Eagles secondary is kind of, well suited, I think, to match up against them. And we all know Carson Wentz pretty intimately by now. He's the type of guy, he's going to make a couple throws that might blow your mind or might make your eyes go wide, but he's also going to make some decisions that make you go like, wait a second, what were you thinking there? He'll give you the ball if you let him. So yeah, no, I think that Washington's got some talent, but for whatever reason, they just have not been able to put much together the last couple of years. And I mean, the early indication this season is that that's going to be kind of the case. I also thought that the Washington game against Detroit kind of was like an interesting measuring stick for Detroit, because I mean, leaving that game against the Eagles, it's like, well, maybe Detroit won't be terrible this year.
Right.
Like, they got some talent, they play hard, and I think that showed against Washington. So, I mean, listen, the Eagles have like a 4-game stretch here against some pretty, relatively soft opponents. There's definitely a chance that they could go into week 7, like, 5-1 or 4. I mean, 4-2 might even be a disappointment at this point, which is weird to think about. But the only thing is that, like, in the NFL, you lose games you're supposed to win. So I think you can't take any of them too light. But yeah, I definitely think that, I mean, they're favored heavily going into this, and I think that's justified.
Yeah. EJ, great stuff, man. We enjoy your work at the Inquirer.com. Of course, follow on Twitter as well.
Appreciate
EJ Smith 94. EJ, thanks for a couple minutes, man. Enjoy your day off. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Take care.
All right,
you
man.
got
Be good.
Hey, speaking of that, guy, so we were looking at the schedule last night, right? And trying to anticipate the next time the Eagles are going to be underdogs. So they're at Washington this week. Then they go to Jacksonville. It's probably going to be at Arizona.
That's what I was going to say. Yep.
Right? But some of that depends on how the Cardinals play in the interim. But then Dallas home, likely to be favored. Bye week. Pittsburgh here, likely to be favored. At Houston, likely to be favored. Washington here, likely to be favored. The way the Colts are going right now, likely to be favored. It may not be again until the 12th week of the season against Green Bay.
Bro,
I mean,
you find a way to find a topic, man, because I didn't even think like that, man. You are a grinder, man. Because being favored, that's crazy to think like that, because then we get to look at the roster as being too soft as compared to how good the Eagles can be. That's just hard for me to say, because I know.
It was just a weird.
No, that's it's a great topic, and it really made me think, because When I was going through the schedule this year, remember when I went through the schedule, I honestly said the third game that the Eagles would probably lose against the Washington football, well, the Commandos, as you call it, Commandos. But now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think they are now. You know, I can change my mind now, and I'm thinking they're not going to right now. I'm thinking it was going to be, you know, Carson coming out and, you know, hosing it around against everybody. But if they can come together like they came together, and this will be a worst offensive line than they played yesterday. This offensive line is atrocious. Washington. So I think they have a better time. But then I'm also thinking that front four, not seven anymore, it's just the front four. They got some players, man.
They do.
You know, they got some players. I don't know. Is
Chase Young's still not back.
He's still out. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean,
good.
But Bob, the only thing I would say is, Barrett, everything you just said is like point blank dead on. You know how goofy division games are.
Exactly.
You know, as much as this looks, and we're all sniffing ourselves after last night, it's like, man, division games are weird. And the Eagles are 6.5-point favorites on a game, you know, a game there. You know, I'm just saying, like, weird stuff happens in the division. Who would have thought the Giants are 2-0?
Right.
Giants are one of 6 teams that are undefeated.
Yeah.
Right.
As we sit here after 2 weeks, and the Bengals are 0-2. Raiders are 0-2. It's just it's a weird league, and it's especially weird early before everybody starts to really find their footing and their identity. So
I mean, it's scaring me to death that you know we're thinking like this, because you know this is a what have you done for me lately type of league.
Yeah, it is.
And you gotta, you know, what Jalen said, you know, keep the rat poison away. Watch this game celebrated one day, then you gotta chuck it. You know, you gotta flush it like a deuce.
And don't look
you know
back.
What I'm saying? Don't look back.
Well, but this is what the league
by the
wanted,
way,
though.
his father must have hammered these cliches.
Bro, that's
if you
like
listen to his post-game press conference, it's all it is. And I love it, but man, it's amazing. I'm sorry, Gunnar. Go ahead.
But this is what the league wanted: parity, and you know, this generates so much interest across the board. I mean, you talk about 6 teams being 2-0. There's 11 teams right now that are all 1-1. So that's why I would say, you know what? Until like week 6 or 7. That's when you truly find out who the contenders are and who the pretenders are, you know. But it's exactly what the league's doing. They're sitting behind closed doors, patting themselves on the back, because this past Sunday might be typical of what every week might be in the NFL this season. You're going to have 3 or 4 games that are going to go down to the wire, and the least expected will be emerging on top instead of being defeated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right about that, Derek. All right, I think we need to pay this off. So when we come back, we are going to sing the Eagles fight song.
Only if Barrett leads. Barrett leads.
Barrett will lead. I'll take it, and then Gunnar, you close us out because you're the best singer of the bunch. Does that work?
Not me. I have no voice.
All right, we'll do it. We will. All right, if Derek doesn't step up, Barrett will start. I'll finish, and Gunnar will just lip sync.
I'm a man of my word, bro. I'm a man of my word.
We'll do it. All right, so we will. I saw Chris. Chris, you're right. We need to pay this thing off, so we will do that when we get back. We keep rolling here with the Eagles discussion. We're going to do a little Kirk Cousins, Jalen Hurts breakdown here of the way this game went. Well, we haven't really touched on Jalen Reagor and all the revenge he got on the Eagles and the fans last night as he's waiting for that first punt doing this, like, give me more. Okay, Jalen. So we'll do that as well. So we got a lot of ground to cover when we get back. Barrett, you okay? You have a inquisitive look on your face.
Because I'm trying to go in. I got Game Pass up.
He's looking for the lyrics.
Oh, you're looking
No. Actually, I got Game Pass up. And it says fumble. Look, there's been a problem with the video. I'm trying to go to Washington to Detroit, and it's trying to. I already paid my membership, and it's saying, choose your plan. I'm like, what do you mean choose my plan? I already chosen my plan. No, you're not getting me. You're not getting all my money.
All right. Well, you'll get that straightened out. You got a little time,
right?
So we'll do that and a lot more. Don't go anywhere. Eagles win 24-7 over the Vikings in impressive fashion. That's for sure. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Pound the like button. All right, time to talk about Pro Action Restoration. Pro Action Restoration is the place that you call or you reach out to online if you're having any kind of issues when it comes to water or fire or smoke or mold or other issues in your home, on a property that you own, etc. They're on call 24 hours, 7 days a week. I've gone through this. I went through it on a Saturday. Sometimes you don't really know if a company's going to be available. They're there. They got out there quick. They cleaned it up. They fixed the problem. The price was reasonable, and the crew was unbelievable. They are licensed, bonded, fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company. And again, if it's any of the above, water, fire, smoke, mold remediation, you name it, they can handle it. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or you can reach them online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community, a sports roundup for the locals, and the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
Back. You got your voices ready, fellas? We ready to roll? Are we going to do this thing or not? I think
let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Ready?
Yeah, we can't. You know, we don't write checks that we can't cash. Okay.
Right.
So, all right. Here's the deal. I'll get it started, Barrett. I'll give you a little drum beat. Okay. And then we will go. I'll pick it up, Derek. Your choice. You want to jump on at the end? You jump on. If not, I'll bring it home. All right. So here we go. Boom, 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 boom.
Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Fly, Eagles, fly. Score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3.
Hit 'em low, hit 'em high, and watch our Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles, fly.
On the road to victory.
E-A-G-L-E-S,
Eagle. Woo, woo.
Connor, you
on
faker.
mute the entire time. You on mute.
Here we go.
Time out. That was not me on mute. That Xander didn't unmute me. That was not me.
Xander.
Look,
Wow.
my mic was not on mute.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
Xander, this is on you.
Xander did this to me.
Okay.
I was all on board for this.
I think he's afraid of your singing, man. He's afraid
Wow.
of your. It's a commentary on your voice. Barrett, good
He
job.
didn't want me to break the mic.
Thank you.
That's right. That's right.
We stuck to our promise. They know you can sing, D Guns. They ain't worried about you singing.
Steven Jackson said that was terrible.
He's not wrong.
No,
It was pretty bad. I tried to just gloss over it. We did not do a good job. But...
Look, if you're right, Gun, Xander. If I muted him, he couldn't unmute it.
No. When I mute myself, I mute it up here. I mute it up here on my mic. That's where I mute it every time. I never touch the mute on the computer. That's right. Xander. You ain't getting off that easy.
All right, little controversy here. Yes.
All I'm gonna say is I fulfilled my.
You know what? Fitness Rebel's right. I went too fast. Sorry. Sorry.
All right, you know what? Because Xander's trying to cop out of this. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Barrett, I don't need your help. Thank you. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Flight,
for a
Eagles,
touchdown, 1, 2, 3. I don't care. Hit them low, hit them high, and watch our Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. EAGLES, Eagles.
There we go.
Much better.
Go. Yeah.
Derek, of course, picks us up from our struggles. Good work out of you.
No,
Gunner.
G-Man, I did not want my a solo. Xander backdoored me on this one. I'm not taking the heat for this. Muted. I mute myself enough. I admit that.
Yes.
No, they got it just right there. What is it? Who was that? G Meta, you're right. GG Meta, Gun just wants his solo. No cap.
No,
exactly.
No, yeah, you know what though? Big Daddy L. Roberts right. Gunner Pendergrass. There you go. That's right.
Better let it go.
Good work. Good work, Eddie.
Better let it go.
Yeah.
Just like another TKO.
I can't do it. I can't. I'm
Come on, Bear. You can
horrible.
do
You
it. You
saw
can do
what I
it,
just
Bear.
did. My voice is.
Rob sounded okay.
I was trying. I did go too fast.
Yeah.
Like Fitness Rebel was right. That was a valid critique of my style. I was too excited. I gotta slow down when I do it. But I tried. I was willing. All right. So this is amazing, guys. You know, we went into this game thinking, okay, Justin Jefferson really hurt the Packers the week before.
Crushed the Packers.
I'm sorry, against the Packers. Yeah.
Crushed them.
You crushed them, right? And then
you said that enough, Barrett. I don't want to hear it anymore.
So he goes out last night, and you could let's just start with this. This is what blows me away about Jalen Hurts. So his first half numbers were probably like good enough for what most guys would want in one game. I think he had 250 yards in the first half, nonetheless. But he ends up finishing up. And by the way, let me just throw this out there too. He becomes the first player in NFL history with 300+ yards passing, completing more than 80%, rushing for multiple TDs in a single game. Not only that, okay, and this is from Brandon Lee Gouton, who is a friend of the show. On third down, the down in the NFL, 5 for 5 passing, 52 yards, 3 first downs, 5 runs, 50 yards, 2 first downs, and a touchdown. Sacked once. Okay. So he dominated in every single phase. 333 yards passing, 10.7 yards per pass, a touchdown. The interception not his fault, off of Kenneth Gainwell's hands.
Yep.
108.7 passer rating, almost 84 completion percentage, 57 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, 5.2 yards per carry. Kirk Cousins, on the other hand, did lead his team with 20 yards, but that's an indictment of his team. But anyway, Cousins, 27 of 46. Keep in mind, a lot of this is garbage late. 221 yards, a touchdown, 3 picks, should have had 5, 51.1 passer rating. This was no mas when it came to the comparison between these two.
It was a total and utter just shellacking of this entire team. I mean, there's a couple things, we could, cry about, but no need in crying, because I just really thought this team came to play, man. That attitude was there. It can't speak enough about the attitude of going out and just wanting to totally dominate a team. And it wasn't even I think the Minnesota Vikings were just a casualty of war. They weren't necessarily worried about who they were playing. They wanted to get the funk and stank off themselves of how they played against the Lions. And it just so happens that the Vikings were there. You know what I'm saying? They caught a butt whooping that wasn't necessarily supposed to be turned on them. They caught it because they were pissed off about the way they played against the Lions. So, that's when I know you're a good team. When you're not worried about who you're playing against. As long as you cross your T's and dot your I's, you'll be fine. We didn't necessarily care who we played against when we won the Super Bowl. We just knew that we needed to conquer whoever's in front of us. And I think that's the attitude, a successful attitude the Eagles are having. We'll take care of everything else. We'll take care of all the intangibles. We'll take care of, making sure we correct our wrongs. We're not worried about who we're playing against. Oh, it just so happens that, one of the best receivers out there, and Slay took it upon himself to go out there totally dominate. Or it didn't matter that, that Lane Johnson and all those guys got cussed out because of the way they played against Detroit and got their quarterback hit, that they were just a casualty of war of getting shellacked up front because they were the next opponent that got the wrath of why, they got yelled at. So that's when you're a good team, when it's a bunch of nameless and faceless people that you're playing against. They don't care if it's the Washington Commanders. They don't care that it's Carson out there. All they care about is totally getting better and whooping who's ever out in front of them.
Well said.
There you go.
That is well said, man.
I'm emotional right now.
It was one of those,
well stated.
I know even after like the field goal block, there was a little bit of doubt that crept in for a second. Like, all right, I don't know, maybe this thing isn't over. But I'm telling you guys, and I never get this way. I am very much, till I hear that final gun, I never think a game's over. But I did not feel like Minnesota was going to get back in that game last night. I really didn't.
You can tell Minnesota packed it up and was headed for the buses in the fourth quarter. You see the volume of passes they were dropping. Now, it was garbage time. Did you see the passes they were dropping in open space? And they just didn't care. They just went back there. Let's get this thing over with. Let's go home, lick our wounds, regroup. They knew it was over, even though it was only 24-7. When you have that many chances to get back in the game, you have a goose egg to show for it, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done. The block punt, the block field goal should have motivated them. It didn't. The interception should have motivated them. It didn't, because the quarterback turned the ball over again. They were done. Mentally, they were already on the bus.
It really looked like, too, that even Dalvin Cook just didn't want to be there, man, last night. And it's a weird thing for this early in the year. It's nice weather, the whole thing. It was I don't know. I think it was a lot more. The Eagles played great and really set the tone and shook them. But if I'm being fair, I thought the Vikings played like crap last night.
They did. And
I'll tell you what, embarrassing effort.
I would bet money on that 26-yard touchdown run by Hurts. When he got to the sidelines, the Vikings are thinking, okay, like most quarterbacks, he's just going to step out of bounds.
Right.
And by the time they realized he was still churning his legs, it was too late. And he probably underestimated his lower body strength. When you're a quarterback and you're squatting 600 pounds in college, the lower body strength is unheard of for a quarterback, especially if his size, because he's not the biggest quarterback out there. But his body strength, his lower body strength is incredible, man.
Yep.
How he just keeps moving and shedding tacklers.
What impressed me, too, was he was rolling to his left and still throwing the ball. It wasn't strictly going to that comfort zone where he rolls to his right. He was working the middle of the field. He was dropping in touch passes. Yeah, it was all there. We get so caught up in his arm strength, which is perfectly fine, by the way. He doesn't have the greatest cannon in the league, but he's got more than enough. But, that's there. And you saw that with the throw to Watkins, even though he was wide open, but just he can hit a deep ball there. It's the other things. That's what I want to see. Progressions. Buy yourself a little bit of time. The sort of the Russell Wilson kind of play where you're not necessarily looking to take off, but just get a couple extra seconds there before you make the throw. And I thought he was great with that last night.
Yeah. Well, I really wanted to see him throw to his weak side, his offside, and he did a great job of throwing across his body. That was another thing everybody wanted to see. They talked about his inaccuracy throwing across his body when he rolled to the left. And I think he shut up people last night with that exhibition, because several times he was on point when he had to do that and roll out. And again, that's another significant part of the maturation of Jalen Hurts in terms of elevating himself to a more complete player. Now, we're not going to sit here and say he's a complete quarterback right now, but my goodness, he's getting closer about a minute. That's for sure.
Yeah, right. I mean, if you look at what the going rate for quarterbacks are, you can't tell me that he's not going to make at least $40 million a year if he keeps playing the way he's playing. I mean, you have to pay accordingly. That's the going rate for quarterbacks right now. That's why the salary cap keeps going up.
Yeah.
Because That's what quarterbacks are making. And what makes him different from any other quarterback? He's winning games. He's executing the offense. He's doing everything that's asked of him. Why can't he get paid also? Why do we have to pay him $30 million or $35 million? Because, what you think he's not, you think his inequities are. No. If he's a franchise quarterback and he becomes his franchise quarterback, then pay him accordingly. Pay that man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to get all that out the air right now. If he continues to play the way he's playing, there's no question. There'll be no reason why he's not getting paid like some of the upper echelon quarterback. Because if he plays like he played yesterday, I don't think there's a team, that can really compete against this offense and how they deliver the ball. Because there's just so many ways in which they can beat you. So many ways they can beat you. They have so many weapons. Tell me a defense that can really stop them when they're clicking like that.
Buffalo. But that would mean they would meet in the Super Bowl, though.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, that's a good problem to have. That's a very good problem to have.
I can't even see Buffalo doing that.
Okay. I'm not going there. I'm not going out there yet. Not yet. No, not against Sean McDermott's defense.
Bro.
I'm not saying he's not going to have a measure of success.
I'm saying the Bills are good.
I'm not saying he would have a measure of success.
It's the Bills are good, but it's not the defense that's necessarily
that defense. Come on, Bear.
They're okay. They're okay. Yes, they did ball, but they're okay.
Defense, they're the defending #1 defense in the league for a reason.
Everybody's playing catch up, man, because they
that.
score every time they get on the field.
And guess what? They give the ball back to the offense also. They're getting people off the field.
They're good. They're good, but it's not like they're just invincible. They don't have.
So your point is their offense is dominant, but their defense.
Their offense, so they're always in catch-up mode, and they're great because once that offense gets on the field and they start scoring, it's hard for the other opposing defense to stop them. And once you get behind, now you're playing into the Buffalo Bills' favor. Now you got 40 coming off the edge. You've got you got guys coming, giving you pass rush through the middle. That's why that team is so well, because they get you behind the buck. And then it's hard to get back in because their pass rush is so good. I
didn't say their defense was invincible. I said they have the best defensive concepts in the league right now for the last 2 years. There's no question about it. Yeah, their offense is the headliner, but they're not understudy. That defense is not an understudy. They're making a name for themselves also.
I forget their defensive tackle. He's the true.
Ed Oliver. He was hurt. He didn't even play last night, by the way.
He didn't play yesterday. See?
No, and they destroyed the Titans. I think the Titans are mess, but anyway,
they're absolutely a mess. Anyway. They are a mess, man. They've got to be cleaned up, man. But look at them. They got some pretty good passers. You're right.
Look, Buffalo's unbelievable. But back to your point about paying him. Here's where I think it's really interesting. The Eagles always try to get ahead of the curve on this, right? Which they do it for a couple of reasons. One, you generally get the guy for cheaper.
Yep.
Two, there's not that thing hanging over that, like Baltimore's dealing with Lamar Jackson, which just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think it's a good thing that the Eagles do that generally. But they're in a weird spot right now, right, where you want to see more of it. It was unreal last night, but I think if you're them, you probably let this play out the whole year and you try and get it done pretty early in the offseason. No, or do you think they do it in season?
You're right. I mean, they're trying to get them on a fair market value. That's the gist of what they try to do. They got Lane like that.
That's what Howie does.
They got a bunch of guys like that, man. Yeah. They got Jordan Mailata like that. Jordan could have held off this year and took him to the bank. We're talking about upwards of like $75-80 million. Instead, they caught him at 64. Lane Johnson the same way. They did it to Zach Ertz. That's why Zach Ertz was the disgruntled employee, because he signed a deal before all the other tight ends signed their deals. Remember that.
Yeah,
because he was all pissed off because Kelsey got paid, Kitchens got paid, and he was like, "Well, man, it's my turn to get paid." Oh, you're already paid. Mm-hmm. We already came and took you to the table. You got a contract before anybody else did. And he didn't get fair market value. They get guys before fair market. They got Sweat the same way also. So
this goes back to Joe Banner. I mean, they've been doing this forever.
Yep.
And it's been a good formula for him. But this is different because you're talking a lot of money, and they had the ability to go out and get A.J. Brown and do some of the other things that they did in the offseason because their quarterbacks are so cheap, where other teams can't do it.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
Derek, just look at Green Bay. Because of what Aaron Rodgers is making, it makes it difficult for, with the Devontae Adams or somebody else.
Wow.
Handcuffs them. It really handcuffs them.
Yeah, but you know what? That's true. But they pay a Matthew Stafford out west, but they still find a way to go out and get all these free agents.
Yeah, the Rams, I don't even know what's going on there.
They're cheating. They're doing something. I don't know.
It blows me away that they are able to get all these. I'm like,
yeah, Les
what the heck are
Snead
they doing out here?
is like David Copperfield, man. I mean, that dude is just I don't know what's happening there. They don't draft anybody, but they just sign people left and right.
Right. Like, where are you getting all this money from?
Yeah,
they must be printing it in California. They must be printing it or something. In
must
Silicon
be,
Valley
man.
somewhere.
Must be. All right. So the other thing to touch on here is Jalen Reagor's return. You know, and to me, it's kind of like I'm glad it's over with, frankly.
Right.
But it was a thing for a minute. You know, and you saw. I mean, to his credit, he had a nice run on the jet sweep, and for a while, he was the leading rusher last night. But 1 catch, 7 yards. He fields a punt on his like 7 or 5, I forget what yard line it was, which is not a smart play. And the other ones, he doesn't do anything to return. Like this is who he is. I just can't play.
He talked about this being his revenge game. Is that what he did?
Yes.
He came out and talked to me. Young players got to learn to know what to say and what not to say, especially when you're coming into enemy territory. Now, he makes a statement like that on his own. If it's a home game for the Vikings, a little bit different, but still. You shouldn't make that mistake. And I tweeted out during the game, I just want to stir things up a little bit. I said, why are y'all booing that man? What did he do to you? And people went off when answering the question when I put it out there about because he never did anything. Because he's Jalen Reagor. They just went on. And one guy said, Deacon, I see what you're trying to do. I see you stirring it up out there. But we all know why we're booing Jalen Reagor. And some people, because it's Philadelphia. You know, but I thought it was interesting. A lot of the comments I got, I thought were interesting in terms of why y'all booing Jalen Reagor? What did he do to you people? Leave that man alone.
You know, it's not what he did to us; it's what he didn't do. And like I said, I had nothing personal against Jalen Reagor. He just didn't perform up to expectations.
Right.
I can remember when I did a breakdown on him. I did a write up on him. I did a breakdown on him. I called him the other guy in the Big 12 because at the time he came out the same time CeeDee Lamb came out. And I thought he was, you know, pretty good. As a matter of fact, I thought he was going to, you know, play well. I thought his run after the catch is what made him good. He's a joystick type of player. When he gets the ball on returns, when he, you know, his return game is where I thought he was going to make most of his money. You know, I really thought he was going to be good because he was good when he was returning kicks. But there was telltale signs that, you know, pointed towards not drafting him. You know, he was out of shape when he went to the combine. Too heavy at the combine. Ran a slow time at the combine. You know, things were just pointing towards, you know, you don't sign that kid. And they signed him anyways. Like I said, I love his family. You know, I love, you know, Monty is my dude. His pops, me and him came in together. But it was hard for me to talk bad about him when he was the one that's doing the stuff that I was talking about. Yeah. All I did was just tell the truth about it. I didn't badmouth him in any way. I just told the truth about what he didn't do. You know, that's the only thing I could say is what he couldn't do and what he didn't do. And, you know, that I never said anything personal about him. You know, it was never personal with me. No. You know, only personal, you know, I had with him was his, you know, I know his pops. My pops is my dude.
Right.
Pops is my dude.
Hey, look, he's in a spot where he doesn't have to carry them. He's not going to have a big spotlight shining on him. If he's going to succeed, it'll be there where he can kind of just work his way in slowly. They're really only asking him to do a little bit right now.
Just return. That's all.
That's it. Absolutely. All right. We'll come back. We will continue with the Eagles discussion. We'll go around the NFL too. The Bills, as we mentioned, just hammered in the early game. The Titans last night. Mike Evans, news on him, little suspension action for Mike Evans. We'll dig into that some too. There's 3 undefeated teams, AFC, NFC, and we're going to rank them in order in each conference. We'll do that also, mixing some Phillies, big series starting tonight against the Blue Jays. Some good open talk stuff for you as well. Ben Simmons news.
Ben Simmons, oh my goodness.
A little bit. We'll get into that as well. Lastly, before we get a timeout, I thought it was really cool last night that the stars were on display. Like you had Bradley Cooper there,
man.
Right? In Jeffrey, and he had an Iverson t-shirt on. You had Bryce Harper. You had James Harden, who Slay gave one of his interceptions.
Yeah,
balls.
man.
Yep.
Like maybe I'm a sucker. I love that stuff. I love the other teams supporting each other, man. I think it's cool.
Yeah,
absolutely right. Absolutely right. It was the major players were out in abundance, and I like the fact that the Eagles played it up. They played it up, you know. Cooper up in the owner's box. You know what I mean? That's what it's supposed. That's where it's supposed to be.
Yes.
You got the best player in baseball out with the minions, out there, with the fans.
In Trout seats. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, they've been doing it on the West Coast for years. Remember when it was the Lakers show? All the stars who would
Jack
sit
Nicholson,
courtside.
yeah.
Even today, when you watch a Lakers game, they always go to the people in the stand. Jack Nicholson, I think he owns one of the networks because he always makes a cameo appearance on a camera. When he's and that man's 98 years old now.
He's not a young man anymore.
Where they get a load of me.
Exactly. The Joker. Yeah.
Red rum.
But I just thought that was awesome, and I love seeing the guys get into it. And Harper had his Eagles hat on, and again, I know it's one thing I think there could be a real positive takeaway is I like that Harper, Stott, and Reese Hoskins, who were the three Phillies I knew were there. They get a little taste of what that atmosphere is like when that place is on fire.
Exactly.
Hey boys, let's get to the playoffs and maybe we could taste a little bit of this.
Bro, we got to make this happen. Be like, hey man, you see where these fans are?
Yeah,
our fans are the same way. Let's make this happen. Let's go.
Amen. All right, we'll come back with all of that stuff. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, Sports Take on this Tuesday. All right, let's talk Razor technology. You got threat vectors evolving. It's never been more important to monitor all changes in your work environment and set up automated alerts for when something violates an existing policy. Get visibility into the pivotal changes happening to your systems and networks with IT support from Razor Technology. Change management is an end-to-end solution for tracking changes across all the systems and networks your business administers so that it has transparency into who is making changes with enough time to respond, to take corrective action if necessary. An unauthorized user, device, or application doesn't need very long to cause serious financial and reputational damage to an organization by altering, damaging, or stealing sensitive data. That's why Razor Technology uses real-time change detection to catch malicious actors in minutes, not days or weeks. Contact Razor Technology today to learn how our managed IT services can protect and enhance your business. Contact Razor Technology, 866-797-3282, 866-797-3282, or visit them online, razor-tech.com. That's razor-tech.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community, a sports roundup for the locals, and the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
Back in, everybody. Unfortunately, I'm trying to shove food down my throat during the break. It's just really gross. You do not want to see it. Trust me when I tell you that.
You need more gross Cheerios?
I did already this morning. Yeah. Gunner, I am, as Barrett pointed out earlier, I guess OCD, habitual Rain Man. I have the same breakfast every single day. Yes, I do. And I needed something to pick me up today. Today was not it was easy getting up in the Eagles win, but it's a little bit more of a challenge when you're
staying awake.
You're rolling a little late. That's all right. No big deal. It's all good. We get to. We're not digging ditches, man.
Man, it's easy when you got to drive 2 hours to get home. Jeez. And you're looking at the same thing over and over. Cow pastures, open fields, barns. And it's like you just put the car on autopilot and let the car drive itself.
I hear you. All right. So what I see a lot of requests for me to do the gritty is picking up here in the chat section. Is that what's going on? Is that where we're at now? All right. Well, how many likes? I'll ask you guys. I'll defer to you. I will do it. I will do it tomorrow if we get to. How many likes are we looking to get to today?
Well, according to G Meta, we have 250 likes now. People keep saying 300. Nah, it's got to be more than 300. If I had to go 350 to sing, you got to get to 400 to get Rob to do the gritty. Man, if I could, I'd hit that like button 100 times just to see that happen.
How am I doing it though? Like I have such a tight contained space here in the palatial studios. I don't know how I'm going to do it.
Here's what you do. So this way you get a reprieve. First of all, ask your daughter, how do I do the gritty? Just to be on the safe side. So you should give you pointers. Have her videotape it, and we show the video tomorrow.
All right.
That'd be easier. Yeah.
If we get to that number, I will do it tonight, or I'll do it tonight. I'll have her record it, and I'll extend it to Xander, and we will show it to you guys. How's that? Fair enough?
That would be amazing.
Sounds good to me.
All right, we're all in.
That would be amazing.
All right, we're gonna do it.
I might even show up early to see this.
And I don't have a clue how to do this dance. I see guys doing it now as their celebration dance on Sunday when they scored. But I will. I might need a little practice. And any pointers are welcome.
I want to make sure I'm not eating or drinking anything.
No, you don't want to do that.
You might choke, bro.
Man, I'm telling you, I'll be spitting fluid
it's like
all
going
over
swimming after you eat. You need to wait about a half hour before you're watching me do this thing.
I'm spitting up fluid everywhere, choking on food. Man, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, you know what? I agree. I have Mr. Taz is correct. I am the punching bag at this point. I'm not sure how I got that.
No,
wrong.
you're a good sport. You're not the punching bag. You're such a good sport.
It's all good. It's all good. All right, so we will get right back to the Eagles in a second. So where are we at likewise?
Wait.
Xander will keep me honest.
We need 29 likes. Joseph Thies says 20. We need 29 likes for what? 300 or 400?
4, right? Didn't we agree on 4?
We agreed on 4. Yep.
All right.
We agreed on 4. What
hit
are
the
we
like
at
button.
now?
I will do it. You guys know I will pay it off. So anyway, if we get there. All right. I want to hit this and then get back to a couple of Eagles points that we didn't get to yet because there was so much to dive into from that game, man. That's for sure. All right, but the Phillies tonight, they take on the Blue Jays. You know what's really interesting? So I looked at the standings here, AL and NL. We know where the Phillies are. For people who may not know, the Phillies enter play tonight. They're a half game back of the second wild card.
Yep.
So they're the third team. As you know, Gunner, they're 2.5 up on the Brewers, who lost last night to the Mets for the third spot. Okay, so right now the season ended, the Phillies are in. However, if you look at the Blue Jays, they're in a really tight wild card race.
Yes, they are.
So the Blue Jays right now are in first, but man, not by a lot. They're only a game and a half, ahead. So they need these games desperately, is what my point is here.
Yeah,
right.
And they're a good ball team. Yeah, good ball team.
They have really good offense. This is going to be – it's only 2 games, but you really need good Kyle Gibson to show up tonight. And you never know which Kyle Gibson is showing up. This one is going to be really, really interesting. This is a huge stretch here. 2 against Toronto, guys, and then 4 over the weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday against the Braves.
And that was not pretty what happened this past weekend.
Oh, boy.
No.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you weren't on, Derek, when we talked about this. It was a hideous weekend in Atlanta.
That was not pretty, man. No.
It was bad.
They only scored 7 runs in 3 games. It was not pretty.
Yeah.
And I broke it down, Rob. The Brewers, after losing to the Mets yesterday, they have 15 games left.
Right.
Their 15 games are against they got the Mets home for 2 more. Then they have Cincinnati, St. Louis, Miami, Arizona. So the last 2 series, the last 7 games favor the Brewers.
Yep.
All right, when you look at the Phillies, they have Toronto, as you said, 2, Atlanta 4. That's going to be huge in terms of swing.
Yep.
Then they get the Cubs for 3, Washington 4, and Houston. See, I've been saying this for months. Now, Houston, although they are right now looking pretty, I bet you they need those games for something, whether it's positioning. You look at how many teams are stacked up with win totals in the American League right now.
Yeah.
That is one heck of a race, not just for home field advantage, but just playoffs, period, in the American League. And then you come to San Diego. San Diego has 15 games left. They have 3 with St. Louis, 3 with Colorado, 3 with the Dodgers, 3 with the Cubs, 3 with San Francisco. Now, the good thing is St. Louis, the Dodgers, and San Francisco are going to give them fits. San Francisco always gives that team fits.
Yeah.
So maybe you'll get help there. But the Phillies, they cannot afford to screw up against the likes of the Cubs and Washington over 4 games. Because when you look at it, 9 of their last 16 games are against teams that are going to the playoffs.
Yes, exactly.
You cannot screw those games up one iota.
And I hope we don't go into those last 2 games like we did last year.
That's what I'm saying. And the last three are in Houston.
Yeah.
We had 5 games left, and all we needed to win was just 1 game. We couldn't.
I know.
Yep.
I know.
Come on, man.
It's been the theme the last 4 years. Really, it was 2 years of Girardi, 2 years of Kapler. Actually, 5. You go back 5 years. I mean, where they've just fallen apart in September, and to have the kind of series that they had in Atlanta, where you get swept out, and it just looks the way that it looked. You can't help but start thinking back. And I know the team's different; it's not the same exact personnel, but you can't. I mean, it's got to be there to some degree. Certainly for the fans, maybe some of the guys who played here in those seasons, there's a little thought in the back of your head. I think it's troubling, man. It is.
Like you said, though, it's good that they had that atmosphere on Monday night.
Yeah.
Just to show the type of effort that you need to win. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Them seeing that, Harper seeing that and feeling that. He told those guys, hey, guys, you feel this? Do you feel this? We've got to get to this point. We've got to be this team. We have everything we need. We just got to do it. We got to execute. We've got to execute.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Houston calls off the Dogs. Right now they're sitting at 97 wins. Next closest team is a struggling Yankees team. It's weird saying the Yankees are struggling and they have 88 wins. So I'm hoping,
right? Well,
I'm hoping they call off the Dogs.
Derek, what their first half looked like. I mean,
my goodness.
They have really.
Rob,
Judge has to go. Judge has to go nuts for them to win games.
Yeah, dude, they were up like by 15 games like back in July.
I know.
Now they're only 5.5 games up on Toronto, 6.5 up on Tampa. Yeah, and the way Toronto and Tampa are playing right now.
Yep. They're sweating, man. It shouldn't be a sweat, but they're sweating. That's for sure. So last night, Barrett pointed this out earlier. The Mets clinched the spot and the Dodgers clinched home field throughout.
Yeah.
I mean, no surprise, with the Dodgers with the way that they've been playing, but they've clinched throughout. Astros are already in too, by the way, in the AL.
Yep.
They've already clinched at least a playoff spot. So, that's kind of where things are. You hold your fate in your hands. You don't need help. You are in the playoffs right now. That's the biggest thing. It's not like you need 10 miracles to happen with teams that you're not playing. You have it right in front of you here. So there's no excuses. And they're relatively healthy. Wheeler's pitching tomorrow, so you get Wheeler back.
Yeah.
You've got Sir Anthony back. You other than Castellanos, you pretty much have everybody back right now with Harper, etc. So guess what, man? You have a giant payroll. You've had a really good year. Don't ruin it here down the stretch in September. Finish it.
Well, you know what? I think the skipper's going to he's level-headed enough that I have confidence in him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a good way of putting it. Yep.
He's level-headed enough. He'll get him going in the right direction. He's going to bring it down. He's not going to sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
He never gets too high, never gets too low, but he's going to hey, guys, this is in your hands. I can't play for you. I can't go up there and bat. I can't go out there and pitch, but I can lead you in the right direction. I'll put you in great positions. That's what I can do. I'll handle the bullpen. I'll get who needs to be out there. Sir, we're going to make sure you're coming along just where you need to come along. You know what I'm saying, Sir Anthony? I'm going to put you in place, but make sure you go out there and make it happen. So I have a little more. I have a lot, not even a little. I have a lot more confidence than I had when we were Girardi.
I agree.
I mean-
Barrett, I agree. I think.
yeah.
Go ahead, Derek.
No, I'm sorry, Rob. Go.
I was just going to say, I think Thompson has sort of the perfect demeanor for this, where, yeah, they're coming off a bad series, but he's a flatline guy. There's no panic there. What I do want to see, and I really admire that, but one thing I don't want to see him do, I don't want to see him just sit on his hands with this lineup. Be proactive and shake it up a little bit. You're not scoring any runs, so do something different. And I know Schwarber's comfortable in the leadoff spot. You know what? Shake it up a little. I want him to change it up. I want to see Stott or Bohm or one of those guys lead off.
There you go. There you go.
Be proactive.
Wow, that's huge. I'm surprised you're saying that.
Yeah, at desperate times call for desperate measures. Man.
Yeah,
I'm more comfortable with a Rob Thompson coach team.
Yeah,
I'm not comfortable with what I've seen for the last 3 weeks with this pitching staff, except for falters. I'm not comfortable with what I've been saying. There's been too many high moments and low moments mixed in.
Yeah,
it used to be, back in June and July, it was more even keel what they were getting. Not lately. Robertson pitches a gem one game. Next 2 games, he can't find the plate, giving up significant runs. You can say it about the whole pitching staff. Even Sir Anthony. Has some issues. Brogdon. I don't trust Brogdon.
What happened to that?
Sir Anthony,
a month ago, I don't know. Good.
I don't know, man. But see, that's what concerns me. And your next 6 games are against teams that can flat out hit.
Yep.
Toronto and Atlanta. Okay. So that concerns me. I used to feel good, if Alvarez stepped to the mound, felt good.
Yep.
So Anthony stepped to the mound and felt good. Now I'm like, okay, let's see what's going to happen tonight. That's the way I am right now.
I know.
And hopefully I'm not doing the same thing tonight. Okay, let's see what's going to happen now.
Derek, you're right. I mean, and this is where, and again, with Gibson tonight, who the heck knows what you're getting from him?
Yeah, you ain't kidding. Ooh.
These guys need to go deep, man. And he can't be out of the game in the 3rd inning, and you're sitting there saying, oh, man, can these guys just piecemeal this together? It can't happen. So
No.
He's got to be better. That's for sure.
Even more so. I you know what? I think we can weather the storm. In our relief pitching, I think we can weather the storm even with our starters.
Yeah.
But we need our bats to come alive, man. That's the
Barrett.
biggest thing. Let's outscore people, man. That's what we are, a team that's gonna outscore people.
Yep.
Let's do this. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying I was surprised you said you want to switch it up, have Schwarber, put him. I mean, where would you put him? What, 6?
5. I ran the 5 hole. I would probably keep Harper at 3.
Mm-hmm.
Hoskins I'd probably keep Hoskins at 2. I may put him in the 5 hole, maybe move Real Muto up a little bit. You can always play around with Real Muto. I wouldn't have any problem with Stott leading off. I'd have no problem with Stott. I think about Bohm. Those guys get on base and they use all field. So where
are you going to put Schwarber?
5 hole.
5. He said put him in 5 or even
or
6.
maybe I put him in the cleanup spot behind Harper and I hit Real Muto 5th. That's not a bad.
That's not bad at all either.
Yeah,
it's not bad, but Schwarber's not hitting the ball the way he had been hitting. I don't know why, but
that's what I'm saying. That's why I said mix it up a little bit. So that to me, that caught me as something that all right.
Yeah,
I can definitely see Thompson doing that.
Okay,
just to mix it up a little bit.
Now that I think about it, how do you go a lefty Harper 3? You go Real Muto the righty at 4, and you go Schwarber at 5. Left, right, left.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Think about it, right? And then maybe you could go Stott leading off. If you really wanted to get crazy, you could go Bohm hitting 2. That's a lefty righty, and then you go Hoskins hits 6th. He's not going to do all of this, but I don't know. I'm just thinking about that. I just rearranged the entire lineup.
He may be listening to you right now, like, that's a great idea.
Yeah, Rob Thompson's like, yeah.
I mean, everybody knows you get people fired. Maybe they'll listen to your lineup suggestions.
See that? Just talk to Joe Girardi, man. Change that lineup up, Rob, or you're next. No. All right, so I wanted to throw this at you guys. So Ben Simmons is going to do JJ Redick's podcast, The Old Man and the 3. This week. Yes.
Wow, that's going to be big time.
That's going to be interesting because I will say this about Reddick. He is not afraid to ask the difficult question. He's not just, trying to be the buddy, the former teammate. You know how it is with fellow players. Sometimes they don't want to dig in too hard. He's not afraid to do that. We're going to get some interesting things, I think, out of this.
The questions will be there because you're right. Reddick is a very good interviewer. I want to see how Simmons tiptoes around the answer. That's what I want to see. Will he give him a straightforward, honest answer? I don't think he will. I think what we've heard about him and what we've basically theorized about him, he's not used to being criticized. He's not used to being shunned. He shuts down in big moments. He basically has unraveled ever since that game we watched on national TV against the Atlanta Hawks. That has been his downfall in a lot of ways. And if I'm shocked, number one, that he consented to do the interview, but I don't think he's going to give you anything to hold on to whatsoever. That's just my personal belief.
I don't know. I think no matter, first off, I think no matter what he says, we're going to react in some way of but I think he's going to say something like to the effect of like his teammates either bailed on him or didn't have his back, and that's going to set everybody off. Like, I think he's going to intimate that Embiid and Doc Rivers didn't have his back with some of the things he had to say. I don't think he's going to go hard with it, but I think he's going to passively aggressive sort of throw something out there that's going to set people off.
I'm going to do you one better than that. He's not going to comment on anything about Philadelphia. He's going to say, I moved on. You can talk to me about, what we're doing here with the Nets, but I doubt seriously if he goes into anything with what, his former team.
Boy, good luck to JJ if he's giving you that.
Right. Well, it's good luck to JJ anyways.
Yeah.
And in what world have you seen? This dude has not played since that last game, right?
He hasn't played since the Atlanta playoff series 2 years ago.
2020.
Yeah.
I mean, listen to that. You think he's going to –
That man got paid, though. He got paid.
He's still collecting checks.
Give me my money. Give me my money.
I would like to take this opportunity to extend a public plea. There's roughly 450 people still in the chat. 400 likes should be a slam dunk. I know all 447 of you, 450, have not hit the like button yet. You guys have been doing a great job over the months. If we give you a goal to hit, you've hit it. You slam dunked it. Yeah, I never thought we surpassed 350 likes. You got me, and I did what I had to do. You got Barrett. Rob has been a great sport. I can't believe Rob keeps putting himself in these positions. But
I can't either.
The fact that he put himself in these positions, that's right, Jeremiah Butler. I'm speaking it. I want to see 400 likes. Where are we right now? Have we surpassed 300 yet?
No, I
surpassed 300 a long time ago.
I checked with Xander, and we were at like 292. Yeah, so we
passed 300 by now. Had to.
We have a ways to go. So I want to see it happen. It's good for the show.
316.
I'm hearing 360. GG and Mr. Brooks have us at 300. So we'll keep doing it.
Ooh, 317. I believe. I believe in the chat room today that Rob Ellis would do the gritty, and I promise you I want to make sure I'm not drinking anything or eating any food because you're going to have to call paramedics when I see this video.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those deals, that's for sure. All right, so back to the Eagles. I wanted to touch on this before we dig into the teams that are undefeated still. Well, this applies to one of them. What Buffalo's doing right now is pretty darn impressive. They put up a 24 spot in the third quarter last night. I was watching. I know you guys were tied up with pregame shows, and you weren't able to watch it necessarily. But I was watching the beginning. The Buffalo Titans game started at like 7:15, something like that.
Right.
It looked like for a minute it was going to be a game, believe it or not. And then once right around halftime, the Eagles game was coinciding with the Eagles game starting, and I jumped off. Man, I flipped back over during one of the commercial breaks, and Buffalo's not only running away with it, Tannehill's benched. I mean, they just crushed them in the third. They put 24 points in the third quarter last night. The Bills did. They can score like that.
Don't be surprised if within the next week or two, they announce that Malik Willis is your starting quarterback, because Tannehill's giving them nothing.
Yeah,
absolutely nothing. At least a Malik Willis is like a Kyler Murray, a Jalen Hurts. He can dart around back there. He can make plays with his legs. And when the defense converges on him, somebody's coming open. He's got a strong arm.
Right.
Not a big guy, not a big guy, but man, can he flat out fly? And people are going to flock to the seats because they want to see this kid.
Yeah.
You got a sample of him in preseason. He did some great things in preseason. I wouldn't be surprised within the next week or two if this thing keeps spiraling downward. He will take over the reins as your starting quarterback.
Well, here's what's interesting, guys, to me. They decided to trade A.J. Brown. They didn't want to pay him. Okay, fine. You're going to do that. What are you doing to replace him? They draft Treylon Burks, and they acquire Robert Woods, who aren't now striking fear in anybody, quite frankly. Which, you know what that did? That basically cut out Derrick Henry's legs, because all teams are doing is saying, we're stopping Derrick Henry. We don't believe in Tannehill. We don't believe in these receivers. There's no fear here for this team, what they're doing. Like, first game, Derrick Henry did nothing. Last night, 13 rushes, 25 yards. That's less than 2 yards per carry.
That's it.
They cooked themselves by letting A.J. Brown go, in part. I mean, there's other issues there, too.
Well, you're talking about a team that built their whole credibility on the run game, and last year they didn't have that run game because Derrick Henry got hurt. Then you come back into this year, quarterback caught feelings, really didn't want to play there. Right. You could tell he didn't want to play there. So how much of the team is how much the team is being split now? You see this young guy go in during the preseason and rip it apart. They see you got a chance with him because he's a dual threat. He's just young yet, has a live arm. I mean, he can throw it a country mile.
Oh, big time.
He's just so undisciplined. Yeah, he's just so undisciplined, man.
Yeah, and he's raw. He's very raw right now. Yeah.
But you see teams like the Eagles with Jalen Hurts. You see teams, like Kyler Murray, in Arizona, being able to have guys run around it and make some plays. So, of course they want the same thing. So there's definitely a quarterback controversy brewing there. Yeah. And it should be a quarterback controversy.
Yeah, believe me, I could care less about Tannehill. But you did the guy no favors by letting a talent like A.J. Brown walk.
Hey, they're so desperate they activated Josh Gordon. He only had 1 target, no catches last night.
I know. I mean, they're counting on Robert Woods coming off a really serious injury and Treylon Burks, a rookie, who some people had some real question marks about.
Yep.
Even taking him as high as they took him. So, but back to Buffalo. I mean, what they're doing offensively, man, the connection with Diggs and Allen, is just unbelievable. I mean, it's amazing how much they are a just quick strike, take you apart, and what do you know what happened to you, and the game's over. That's what they've become here.
Josh Allen is that dude. He has arrived in his 5th year in the NFL. They have done a masterful job of building him up. His arm strength is ridiculous. His deep balls, his intermediate throws over the middle, laser throws, accuracy. He is ridiculous right now, and he's up there with the best of the best in the game today.
Did you know, speaking of that, the Jalen Hurts is now in the top 3 in the MVP voting right now?
Right now?
For odds. It's not voting. It's MVP odds.
Who?
It is Allen. It's Allen. They're not voting yet after 2 games. It's Allen, Mahomes, and Jalen Hurts are your top 3 right now.
That speaks volumes in terms of how people now perceive young Jalen after just 2 games. I'm glad you brought that up, because we should bring that up every week to see where he is in terms of the voting, just to keep a voting watch on Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, look, it's going to be interesting. I think that when you do something like he did last night on that stage, people take notice. Vegas takes notice. The pundits around the country take notice. We always knew, man, this guy's a crazy talent. He's just got to put it all together. It's not all together yet, right? But they now understand and recognize what he's capable of, and in turn, what this team could be if he plays that way. And I think that's what last night served as. Can
you imagine if he messed around and won an MVP, and what they would have to do to sit down in negotiations after that?
45.
Woo!
47,
you're right.
47.
Yeah, his agent is an auctioneer. Yeah, you're right.
Ooh,
but that's the thing. I mean, I know Baltimore lost on Sunday, but Lamar Jackson went crazy. All happens every single week is that price just goes up and up and up.
Yes, indeed.
It's why this is very strange. What they're doing there. That game they're trying to play, I don't quite get it. I didn't get it from the jump. Unless you're just going to let him walk at the end of the year, which I don't know how you do that to your fan base.
No, he ain't going anywhere. They'll make sure, John Harbaugh came out and said it in training camp.
Yeah.
Lamar's going to get paid, but right now we're all about football. He's going to get paid, but I tell you what, first week it was impressive. What he did yesterday Sunday in a losing effort against Miami, even more impressive. especially when he took off on that 79-yard run. All he's doing is adding more dollars to the bank. That's all he's doing right now.
Yeah, you are right about that. All right, so we come back. 3 undefeated teams in each conference, NFC, AFC. We'll rank those 3 teams, dive into some other NFL news. Mike Evans suspended for a game for that fight with the Saints. A lot of other stuff that we'll hit as well. Good news from an injury last night too in the Buffalo game, which we'll update you on. Do all of that when we get back. Don't go anywhere. Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Derek, Barrett, Rob. Let's talk a little Flynn Tree Services. Yes, Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. So, do you have any issues with your trees in your yard, on your property, whatever the case may be? If you do, they're just a quick phone call away. They are experts at trimming all types of trees, and they serve southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, northern Delaware. Flynn Tree Services specializes in tree pruning, stump removal, and tree removal. Keep in mind, we're in that time of year now where we get some bad storms, hurricane season. It's a great time to have your trees evaluated before something bad happens. You go to their Facebook page or their Instagram page for more information or a sampling of their work. Give Flynn Tree Services a call at 610-850-2848, 610-850-2848, or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community. A sports roundup for the locals. And the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. Yes, Sports Take on this Tuesday. You gotta sort of adjust your mind. You know what I mean? After an Eagles game, you're like, oh, is it Monday? Is it Tuesday? Like, you're still trying to get your bearings.
Monday night, yeah, it's tough, bro. It's tough.
It definitely throws you off, man. That's for sure. But the beauty is you're a day ahead in the week, right? That's how I try to look at it. How about this? So we're coming off of an unbelievable game where they beat the Vikings, and it's also Wentz week. It's Carson Wentz week. Is it? I mean, for you guys, I know we're not going to like really get there until like Thursday or Friday, right? Before we really start looking ahead to it. But most weeks we'd probably almost already be onto it now.
Yes, absolutely.
First time they're facing them, right?
Absolutely. It's crazy because you're leaving. These are like 3 games that we kind of anticipated from last year. Detroit, the way we beat up on them, turned our season around, with the run game at Detroit. And then you come into Monday night against the Vikings and how we went and really basically just beat up on them going on our way to the Super Bowl, the dog mass and everything like that. So all that, kind of went into, us beating them. And then you turn back around and our former quarterback, Carson. Is this the first time we play against him?
Yep.
Yeah, last year they didn't play.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
They didn't play Indy. Yeah, I know. It's weird. It's like I had to sit there and think for a minute too. Like, have they faced him yet? I mean, these upcoming weeks are crazy. You're going to get Carson and Doug.
Right. Doug coming back. Yep.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
What a beautiful schedule. So many built-in storylines. It makes our job that much easier.
Well, I don't know about you guys. Like, Carson's had sort of very Carson-esque kind of games. Like, he's had flashes of brilliance, other mistakes. I think he's been more good than bad, but it's been, up and down, some peaks and valleys for him. I don't know, man. Is he going to be like overly hyped, you think? I mean, is he going to be just cranked up too hard to go early where he's overthrowing? And you think so?
Yes. He's going to be a train wreck.
Let's hope.
And the thing is, we don't know the whole story behind his departure here. We know bits and pieces. We know rumors. We don't really know the whole story. How much was it the organization said enough is enough? How much did he whine to get out of here? We don't know the whole scenario of what exactly went down with him here. And obviously we got a little bit better indication with Indianapolis because that goofy owner in Indianapolis, he didn't mix words. He didn't mix words one iota in terms of why I had to move on from Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
So
he's even hurting his own trade value.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I mean?
He didn't even care.
Yeah.
He didn't care at that point.
Yeah, that was strange.
And he actually doesn't care about he doesn't care about his quarterback he has right now. I mean, he better get it going.
Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan. He better get it going, or he might get bounced too.
Well, he's going to get bounced. It's going to be Reich and Chris Ballard.
Right.
They're going to get bounced. I mean, this team was set up a couple years ago. I know Luck retiring kind of threw a monkey wrench into everything, but with the offensive line, having Jonathan Taylor, it looked like they were set up pretty well. And now all of a sudden,
defense.
They look like they're a mess. That was ugly. That was a listless effort. Matt Ryan had 0 touchdowns and 3 picks in that game.
What?
Last week. Yeah, he was awful.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he was really bad. So and they're trying that Denver route. Remember Denver it worked with Peyton Manning, don't get me wrong. But Denver kept going through that sort of get the older guy in there and hope he plays well. And it never worked out.
Never panned out.
It feels like, Indy's trying to do that same thing. All right. 3 undefeated teams in each conference. Let's start with the AFC. Miami's undefeated coming off that crazy comeback win over Baltimore. Buffalo, we just talked about, but they manhandled the Titans. And the Chiefs. Okay? The Chiefs, they're your 3 teams that are undefeated in the AFC. I think I know who's won, but I'll ask anyway. Let's rank them, fellas. Talking AFC. Of those 3 teams, what would your pecking order be?
Buffalo
1. Okay.
The Chargers. I mean, not the Chargers, but the
Chiefs.
2. And
Dolphins 3.
The Dolphins. Yeah, you have to.
That's
say
it.
3.
I mean, they're
That's
the
tough.
only 3.
That's tough.
Yep.
How about you, Derek?
I agree. I sat here and I put it down. It was easy for me to put it down right now. Buffalo, I think, is the most complete team of the 3. Kansas City's offense is as explosive as anybody's. And Miami has won 2 games in 2 different styles. They've won. The defense won their first game. The offense, definitely won their second game. Miami is a very talented team, but because of their so-called history has been limited compared to the other two recent history, I had to put Miami at number 3 for right now.
I think Miami's such an unknown. I mean, we know there's crazy talent with Tyreek Hill and Waddle and, et cetera. But I still think we need to see more of what they are defensively, more of Mike McDaniel, more of can Tua do this every single week, before we know. The other two are much more known quantities right now in the AFC.
Right.
I need to see Miami play more of a complete game on both sides of the ball in the same game, not separate games. Haven't seen that yet. And again, it's only 2 weeks into the season, so there's still a lot of football to be played. But, since we're talking about it right now, Buffalo scored more points than anybody in the league at 72 points. Kansas City is 71, and Miami's at 62. So, when it comes neck and neck, I expect to see Buffalo and KC again shooting it out for probably an AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
I if that happens, I can't wait to see it. I would call in sick.
No, you won't. You'll be talking about it the next day, I hope.
It would take me 2 days to come off that high.
I'm telling you. I told you guys, I am weirdly fascinated with Mike McDaniel. I don't know what's going on with this guy. He's strange. I was watching I don't even know why I was flipping around. The NFL Network was having some fun with it. And they showed him. Did you see him entering the game on Sunday, him in the tunnel?
Excuse me, I got to hop off for 1 second.
All right, do you think? So Derek, he's like sort of dorky. He's walking in, and he starts like kind of messing with the I'm like, this guy is just out there, man. I don't know. I don't know.
Baldy told us, this dude is an incredible football mind, but he's a little different.
Yeah.
And you start to see that when I've listened to him at the podium, you hear bits and pieces when you watch. I'm like, he doesn't even look like a football coach.
How do you think Philadelphia would react to a guy like that? He's very esoteric. He's very sort of quirky, like mad genius kind.
I think Philadelphia would pick him apart initially based on looks and voice.
Right.
But if he won, they gravitate towards him real quick.
Yeah.
If he is as creative an offensive mind as Baldy says he is, this town would embrace him in a second.
Mm-hmm.
After we got rid of looking at, hey, look, this guy doesn't even look like a coach, doesn't sound like a coach. But once he gets between the stripes, it's like a mad football genius. Philadelphia wouldn't have a problem at all with that.
Yeah, it's fair. I agree with Showtime. Like he looks like he would work at the Genius Bar at Apple.
Yes.
You know? Where he could figure it out in 2 seconds, whatever your problem was, and you're like, I don't know, it doesn't.
Great description.
Yeah, he's got it done in a second. That's pretty good. All right, let's jump over to the NFC now. So there are 3 teams undefeated in the NFC: the Eagles, the Bucks, and the Giants. Now, I never thought we'd be throwing the Giants into that that equation.
No.
So how would you rank them, Derek? I mean, look, the Tampa won in really sort of defensive, ugly fashion. Game really flipped in a lot of ways over that fight, which we'll get to in a minute with Mike Evans and Brady and Lattimore. But they are undefeated despite a lot of injuries and stuff with Brady, etc. Giants are the shocker probably of the league that they're still one of the undefeated teams. Won week 1 in a gutsy move over Tennessee to go for 2, and then won again last week over the Panthers, and then of course the Eagles. So if you're ranking those 3, who would it be?
Well, Tampa Bay, Eagles, Giants, boom, right there. Is as many health issues as Tampa Bay has, they still got that guy under center.
Yeah.
Who is second to none. They've got plenty of weapons. They've got a really good defense. Todd Bowles is an exceptional defensive mind. And so I have to put Tampa Bay at the top. Eagles are coming on, making a name for themselves. If Jonathan Gannon can play a consistent style of defense like he played against Minnesota, they're going to be in that argument with Tampa Bay for this season. I think the Giants are riding a high right now. They're going to come crashing down to earth soon enough. But look, they've won 2 games by a total of 6 points. The bottom line is they've won those games, okay? They didn't lose those games like they were losing them last year. Brian Daboll has those guys believing in themselves. They're still not healthy yet. Yeah. And they're sitting 2-0. unbelievable test coming up on Monday night against Dallas. So we'll see we'll get to see those two teams up close and personal on Monday night. But right now, I got to put the Giants at number 3, mainly because Daniel Jones, he ain't even close to the Jalen Hurts and Tom Brady. So
yeah, I view the Giants this way. I give total credit to Dable for what he's done there, because
absolutely,
you remember how ugly that was last year with Judge.
Yes.
They were just ugh. So I give him a lot of credit for that, for installing some belief in themselves.
Yes,
but I'm with you. Like if it comes down to crunch time, do I trust Daniel Jones in a big spot? I don't.
No.
And teams are going to basically say, we're taking Saquon away. He might, like he was okay last week. He wasn't bad. He was okay. But that's what it's coming down to now. They're going to take Saquon away and say, Daniel Jones beat me. And to Daniel Jones' credit, he doesn't have great weapons either. Galladay's been a total disaster of a signing.
He doesn't get on the field hardly.
No, he doesn't play. And they have some solid, like Sterling Shepard's types are solid and whatnot. Some other guys are okay, but he doesn't have a lot of help. He doesn't have a really quality tight end, that kind of thing.
No.
So they're kind of doing, I don't want to say smoke and mirrors, but I do think reality sets in with them, and they're not a 500 team, in my opinion.
I agree with you 100%. The offensive line is the mess. The 2 best edge rushers are still trying to get back to health and to be healthy enough to play in the game. And even if they're at full strength, I just think that the Giants are still the bottom feeders in the NFC East until further notice. Now, next year and the year beyond that, they may be deep in the conversation of being one of the better teams in the NFC East or the NFC for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
But as we know, the Giants right now, they're a great conversation piece right now. They will be a topic of discussion next Tuesday for sure after that Monday night game against Dallas. But right now, the Giants are light years behind the other 2 teams that are off to a 2-0 start in the NFC.
Weird. So A Warriors Rage says, if we knock the Giants for beating Mayfield and Tannehill, let's knock Hurts for beating Monday Night Cousins. Well, first thing is, when did anybody knock the Giants for beating Mayfield and Tannehill? When was that ever said?
Really? Yeah.
Interesting how people hear what they want to hear at times.
It's the world we live in, bro.
I know. So anyway, no, in fact, I give the Giants a lot of credit for what they've been able to do so far. Barrett, so we were ranking our undefeateds here. And we did I know you were here for the AFC. But the NFC, it's the Eagles, it's the Bucks, it's the Giants. If you're ranking those 3, how would you rank them?
Bucks, Eagles, Giants. Yeah, pretty easy. Yeah. Bucks, Eagles, Giants.
Yep.
And I mean, it's still pretty self-explanatory. The Bucks, got the best quarterback to ever play the game. Even without, his receiver now, Todd Bowles and his defense, they're so deadly up front. Their defense is so good, man.
No question.
It doesn't get talked about enough how good the defense is.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Yeah. So, I mean, they're well balanced. I don't know what their stick is against playing with the Saints. I don't know what that is, but you could tell they're still top team in the NFC now in the conference.
Yeah.
Eagles, they've made a way. They're up there at least in the top 4.
Yep.
In conference, you're saying, yeah,
in conference, top 4 in the conference. Period. And looking at who they've beaten. It's not like they've beaten slouches. And I know you probably already said this, but, they beat a good Vikings team.
Yeah.
They beat a good Packers team. And, they're probably on the same line as a Packers team right now. Even with that quarterback that they have, I would say that they're right up there with the Packers, because I think that our defense could really bode well against him. They could play well because they don't have the horse they used to have. So I think we play head to head. I think we'd be fine against them.
I just think that when I look at and we'll do our full conference, power rankings later in the week. But when I look at the NFC, I don't see the juggernaut. Like I think, you want to say Tampa with their defense. That's fair. But I don't see anybody else here. Like I think
not like you see in the AFC.
No, right, for sure. The AFC and the NFC are totally different animals, man. Dallas has got their issues even before Dak got hurt. We saw what the Vikings were last night. We've seen the Packers look just okay, week 1. Tampa, there's still a lot floating around with Tampa
Right.
that, and Brady and whatnot. Nobody else really puts the fear of God in you. I mean,
No,
Jameis turned
no.
into bad Jameis yesterday or Sunday and threw three picks. Niners, yes, they have Jimmy G, but I don't know. I don't know how explosive they are. And the Rams, even coming off a loss week 1, almost let Atlanta come back on them on Sunday.
That's right. Took a Jalen Ramsey pick in the end zone to seal that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's pretty wide open, man.
Even when you play against the Rams, we always play well against the Rams.
Yep.
The last time we played them, we should have beat them. We didn't. It was here at home, wasn't it? 2 years ago.
Yes.
We played them at home. That year we only won 4 games.
Right.
4 of the possible. We had because we tied.
Yeah.
And we were a bad team. We almost tied it in. And that's going against Aaron Donald. We played well against Aaron Donald. I think Aaron Donald still doesn't have a sack against the Eagles.
Yeah, they do play well. I mean, look, the Eagles' offensive line is if you're gonna, they have the ability to stone even the best players.
Yes,
Lane
exactly.
does, Mailata, and really, Mailata had kind of a tough night last night. Like he did really good in pass pro, but there was a couple penalties, and they do need to clean up penalties. By the way, there were so many positives, but they've accumulated a lot of penalties the first 2 weeks, and a lot of that illegal receiver down the field, illegal man down the field. Too much of that, man.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to think how you. That's so hard to because really you can't really fault the offensive line on 3 of those penalties because the way they do it, it's a run pass option,
right?
And the quarterback can't wait so long on the passing part to get the ball out because you're blocking. You don't even hear the pass part of it when they give you the play. They give you the play. It might be 15 slant. And then they say the pass routes after that, Y stick nod or whatever it is, and they'll say that. So you don't even hear that portion. All you're blocking is the run. That's all you care about is the run. And when you're blocking, you're thinking the running back is getting the ball every single time. So you're blocking responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
He picks it up and he waits a second, and defense make a hold of the second, so he hit the second window. By the time you hit that second window, as an offensive lineman, you're getting up on the second level.
Right.
You're blocking a linebacker. So now you're outside, and that's so hard for an offensive lineman to deal with because you can only have 1 foot in the air crossing the line of scrimmage when the ball is in his hand still. Once the ball is released, you can be downfield. You can start on your way. But if this ball, if your foot goes down 1 yard past it, that means you're downfield. So that's just a tough call. The offensive line. I know they get the blunt of it. But if a quarterback wants to wait 1 second and get the ball in the second window, you're screwed because you're going to be downfield. And that's what the run pass. That's the only thing about the run pass option that's so hard to block.
Yeah,
because you don't know if he's handed it off because you're blocking like he's handed it off, and you got to get to your run responsibility. Yep. If you're double teaming up to that to the linebacker, you got to double team to that linebacker because if he gets the ball and you don't get that linebacker can come make a play.
No question. Yeah,
so
no question.
It's tough. It's tough.
All right, so a couple things around the league. Mike Evans will be suspended. He's appealing it, but he will be suspended for a game for the scuffle that he had with Marcus Lattimore. There's history with these two, of course, that goes back to, I think, 2017. But he was mostly defending Brady, but it was a bunch of guys that he kind of got into it with. So he's out. See, they're already hurting at receiver.
Or will he? Because James Thrash is the appeals officer, a former receiver.
Okay.
Will he be suspended? He should be at least 3 games.
Unless it's a quick appeal and review. He is appealing it, so maybe he'll be able to play this week.
Supposedly the appeal is being heard today. So
okay.
So who knows? He may get a quick decision, may not. You know me. I'm hoping he's a no-show Sunday. I hope.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Who are they playing?
I don't know. I just hope there's a no-show on Sunday.
You are full of it, man.
Oh, 29 more likes. We need 20. Oh,
all we need?
29, and we got a little over 30 minutes to go.
Come
on, people. You can do it.
We might get there. It is not out of the question. So if you're wondering why Derek is so adamant about this,
no, I just
Green
don't like
Bay will be playing at Tampa on 425 on Sunday. Just
they
FYI.
Will?
Okay,
they
shocking that you want that to happen.
They do play this Sunday?
Oh, yeah, I know.
I had no idea.
What a coincidence. Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, okay.
I just think a man who goes outside of the rules of the game should be suspended for his transgressions. That's all I That's all I was thinking, Robert.
That's that. I didn't know it stacked that tall, man.
It's getting deep.
Yeah, man. I didn't know it stacked
Get your
that
waders
tall.
out. Get your
Oh,
waders.
380. What? 385?
Oh man, we're close. 15 away.
Ooh.
So that's going to be interesting to see what the NFL does. You're right, Derek. That's an interesting point with Thrash that he's a former receiver. You know how that's going to shake itself out. Really good news last night on Dane Jackson. And again, I know a lot of our attention was on, the Eagles, but Dane Jackson, who's a corner from the Bills, looked really bad. Suffered an injury to his neck and his back and was carted off. And the good news was he had full, feeling in his extremities and all that stuff.
Yeah.
He's already been released. X-rays are clean.
Good.
CAT scan is clean. And there's no damage to his neck or his back or his spine. Thank God. Okay. Thank God.
That's so tough, man. That's so tough.
Yeah. There's nothing scarier, right? I mean, there isn't anything scarier than that.
We've seen that too many times, man, with the Daryl Stingleys and all that stuff. We've seen it too many times happen, man. I'm just happy the dude got up and walked off. Thank goodness. Oof.
Yep. Thank God. So this is a big one for the Chiefs. William Gay suspended for 4 games. League's personal conduct policy. This dates back. He was arrested in January in Kansas on criminal property damage. So he ends up getting hit. That's a big loss. I mean, he was second on the team in tackles.
Yes, the starting linebacker. He's good too.
He is good. Yeah, no, he is.
Why does the league do this? Why do you wait until the season starts to do this?
All the information way back when, man.
You could have done this. You could have made this announcement in August.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I know.
Man, I hate when the league does this stuff.
I know. It is frustrating. And
Uh-oh.
Oh, we're only 3 away from what I'm hearing.
Oh,
my sources are telling me we're only 3 away. So we're getting close. And so if you're not familiar, if we hit 400, I will do the gritty, I guess. Whatever the gritty is, I'll be doing it. So like I said, I saw a couple guys do it. That was their touchdown celebration. I'm trying to remember who it was.
There was a tight end. There was a tight end who did it.
Oh, did Hurts do it too?
Hurts did it when he scored his first touchdown. Yeah.
Okay. Was it Gasecki? No, Gasecki? No, who was it? They said the gritty was so bad they got to go back and practice it.
Yeah.
Wait till they see mine if they think that was bad. Trust me.
Right.
You ain't seen nothing yet. Mine's going to be as bad as it gets. So yeah, if we get that today, we will pass that along. I'm waiting on word from Xander is the official counter of this. So if he tells me we got there, I believe it. We got there. Not that I don't trust the chat room. I do trust you guys. Trust me when I tell you that. All right.
I just so happen to like it.
Where are we?
Oh, we should be over the top.
Where are we, Barrett?
Are
we there?
I don't know where it looks. I just
wait. Did I get a like in there?
Gigi claims we're there. We're at 402. He claims.
Did I get a like in there? Let me hit a like.
I was the one like to
I
get
just
it
added
over.
a like.
Yeah, it's over now.
I got to give Steven credit. This is a pretty good line. I'll hit the like button if Rob does the Queen's eulogy. All right. So listen to this. And by the way, we got it. We're at 402. So I will record the gritty.
Thank you, people. Thank you.
I will record it tonight. I'll have Maddie Ellis do the camera work.
She gonna make sure you do it right too.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to utilize her for instruction too.
No, Barrett, it's not whether he does it right. It's whether he has the rhythm and coordination to do it right.
Well, that we know I don't. So that's a given. No, so she had a game last night and we get back from her game. You got to get home about 6, I guess, whatever time it was. I don't remember, but come back. I turn on the TV and it's the national news, right? It's like ABC News or something. Freaking the entire half hour was the Queen's funeral.
Here we go. Here we go.
I mean,
Rob, leave that woman alone.
It never stops. Like we're still doing this.
Okay, Rob, they buried her. Okay, now it's over. It's done. Now you know what's going to happen now. The news tonight and the rest of the week will be who falls in line to succession to the throne.
Yeah, Charles, King Charles.
Well, who knows? One of the other family members might bump him off. Who knows? God.
It's enough.
Rob,
anyway.
you have no compassion for the Queen. I am deeply shocked.
As I said, the old lady had a good run, and now let's put it to bed. All right,
you can't be saying old lady.
All right, the experienced lady had a good run. All right, enough.
How about well preserved?
Well preserved, yes. I'm sorry. Like when you're shocked that a 96-year-old passed, that's what people, the community is shocked at the 96-year-old's passing. 96, we're shocked. Okay. All right. Anyway, I'm done. I can't do any more on this. So when we come back, we got some good stuff for the open talk. Some retire, but I'll do the gritty. I promise you, I will deliver tomorrow.
You know what, Rob? Somebody about an hour ago, I forgot who it was, brought up a good comment in the chat. Said, how come Barrett always gets off easy on these challenges compared to Gunner and Rob? And I thought,
how do I get off? I do what everybody else does. What have I gotten off on?
I don't know. I'm just
saying like I was supposed to sing.
I'm just saying what they said in the chat.
What else have I done? I mean,
I don't know. It was in the chat. I don't know.
No, but I think about it. Like Barrett, we killed him to get Phillip on. He got Phillip on.
Yep. It was Mr. Taz. It was Mr. Taz.
Okay. We wanted him
to. What do you want to see Barrett do, Mr. Taz? What do you want?
Well, wait. Why do you gotta?
You are Woody. Here's Woody Woodpecker again.
Friends like that. You don't need enemies.
It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. All right, let me look. I'll bite the bullet with the gritty tomorrow. Give Barrett a break, man. He will be.
What did I do? I mean, what do you want me to do? I sang today.
Yes.
I was front. I was front and center. I started sang the entire, and then tried to sing with you, and then you played me like, you gonna say, I don't need you.
I didn't need help. I said, I don't need your help, Barrett. I didn't need your help. I was just being honest.
Yes.
You were throwing me off key.
I don't have any keys.
Well, you're throwing me off.
Here's what I will tell you guys tomorrow. Just be ready because it's going to be ugly. I will promise you that. My gritty will be. But I agree with Sills here. The Queen's funeral is like watching Weekend at Bernie's. Exactly right. That is correct.
You know what I want to know?
Yes.
You know what I want to know? I want to know how Big Sills is going to talk about the whole game. How he's going to talk about Jalen Mills, them throwing and everything.
Ooh. Jalen Hurts. Yeah.
Hurts.
I mean Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
I want to know how he's going to react.
I know it's going to be fun. You don't want to go anywhere. Stay tuned. Top of the hour. Man.
People in the chat. People in this chat have been talking about they can't wait to get the sales at 3:00.
Yep.
Like, it's going to be ugly.
It'll be fun, man. That's what it's all about. You know what? That's the beauty of this is you give an opinion. You're either right or you're wrong. Yeah. People are going to be all over you if you're wrong.
Call you to the carpet.
Well, you know what it's like? It's like Barrett. Man. You can relate. It's like being an offensive lineman. If you get it right, it doesn't get brought up.
Yeah,
unless
nobody
you bring
says anything. Yeah, exactly.
You hear it if you get it wrong. That's for sure. But that's all right. That's why we put ourselves out there. All right. So we'll get a quickie here. We keep it rolling on the other side. We got some open talks, some movies, some birthdays, all kinds of good stuff. Some big time retirements in the NHL, but we'll continue the Eagles discussion as well. Don't go anywhere. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Barrett, Derek, Rob.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community, a sports roundup for the locals, and the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
Welcome to Pond Lehocky. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pond Lehocky a call.
All right, we are back. What's up, everybody? We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. We're with you each and every day, 12 p. Eastern to 3 p., 3 hours of power. What's the matter, Gunnar? I saw you shaking your head, man. Everything good? What's happening?
Oh, yeah, God, we're just catching a quick snap. Went down the wrong pipe for a minute.
All right. Well, you see,
Woo.
don't.
Hey, these things are pretty good. You guys shop at Costco?
No.
Sometimes.
This is a treat that Rob would like, man. It's cheese popcorn and caramel mix.
Ooh.
It's really good.
It
costs. Oh my goodness, it's like addictive.
That's a healthy sized bag too, man. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people here, man. When I left the house yesterday, the bag was full.
Right.
It's less than half a bag left, so I'm getting my share now.
You need to get hiding spaces. Yeah, a little stash. You need a stash, man. Yeah.
I can't hide it from the adults. Can't hide it from the grandson. Can't hide nothing in this house, man. Even the dogs dime me out.
I hear you, man. Trust me. All right, so 2 retirements from the NHL of note. PK Subban, who had a very good career. Bounced around a little bit, but had a very good career in the NHL. Was a guy who was not afraid to be the villain in towns and that kind of thing. But he hangs it up at the age of 33. The other one is Zdeno Chara. Guys, 24 seasons in the NHL.
One of my favorite players.
Yeah. That is nothing short of remarkable.
24?
Yeah, 24 in that league. You know what kind of shape you have to be in to play in that league? Those guys get finished games and they get right on the bike.
Yes.
I'm telling you.
Yes. And the body shots they take during the game.
Unbelievable. But he's an interest. So he's 45 years old. He turned 45 in March. So he was playing this year at 45.
Jeez.
He is 6'9". He was the tallest player ever to play in the NHL and lasted 24 seasons, man. 96 to 2022. That's an amazing, feat. He's a future Hall of Famer, obviously.
The skates on, he was 7'1".
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. That's a big boy, man.
Goodness.
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck getting him down. So 2 retirements there. As far as the NHL goes, I mean, for a guy like that, I don't care what sport it is, you're able to last one. Like what Brady's doing is, we'll never see under any circumstance. I don't think ever. Certainly in that league with the beating that you take, I just don't see it. I want to pass this along to you guys. So the Joe Thomas, Darrell Revis, Dwight Freeney are lead the first year eligible 2023 Pro Football Hall of Fame nominees.
Say it again. What again?
Joe Thomas, the offensive lineman from Cleveland.
From the Browns, yep.
Darrell Revis Island, and Dwight Freeney, longtime Colt,
Colts,
yeah. So they're the headline the list of the 9 first year eligible guys. The other ones, there's an interesting name here who I think deserves to get in. Local kid, Jari Evans.
Yep.
Longtime Saint.
Yep. Great player.
Phenomenal career. So you have Jari, Chris Johnson, the running back, Navarro Bowman, linebacker, James Harrison Barrett, one of your Steeler guys.
He'll make it.
Cam Chancellor from the Seahawks.
Chancellor, yep.
And punter. This guy was a great punter before anybody laughed. Shane Leckler was a beast as a punter.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness.
I don't think Chancellor will make it first ballot.
No.
You think everybody else is in pretty good shape?
Yeah, I think everybody else is. But
I mean, there's some locks there, right? I mean, there's some serious locks. Revis,
Yeah, I don't know about Bowman on his first go around. He was a great player. I don't know if he'll make it his first go around.
I would agree.
Navarro, plus Navarro, he retired kind of early.
Yeah. Wouldn't it due to head injuries or something?
Yeah, concussions. Yeah.
Yeah. So the 15 finalists will be trimmed down to 10, and then 5 during the selection meeting, which is early next year. The final 5 candidates will need to get 80% of the votes from the panel to get into the Hall of Fame. The roster of nominees consists of 67 offensive players, 50 defensive players, and 12 special teamers. So,
wow.
And the holdovers from 2022, guys that are renominated for the next year. Jared Allen, the defensive tackle, long time with the Vikings.
And Chiefs.
Yep. Willie Anderson.
Offensive tackle, right?
Yep.
Cincinnati.
Rondé Barber. Of course, Tiki's brother played defensive back for the Ducks. Devin Hester, who was a great returner. Torrey Holt. Receivers are pretty strong. Torrey Holt, Andre Johnson, Reggie Wayne.
Wow.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Your linebackers are Zach Thomas and Patrick Willis.
Oh, wow.
And your edge rusher is DeMarcus Ware. Yeah. Pretty impressive.
Not a bad list at all. Wow.
Not at all.
That's a good class. And
how many they let in?
The finalists will be trimmed down to 10.
Okay.
So the committee is also going to consider Don Coryell in the coaching category.
Okay.
And the 3 senior candidates are Super Bowl V MVP Chuck Howley, defenders Ken Riley and Joe Klecko, and they also will get in if they get support from the 80% of the voters in January. So I really hope Klecko gets in because he has been worthy for a long time.
Yeah.
That guy played everywhere. He played the nose, he played D tackle, he played D end, and was part of even though that Jets team didn't achieve a ton as far as like Super Bowls or anything like that. That defense was nasty. That sack exchange.
It is not even because I'm good friends with his son, but I mean, I'm just, I think that that's well deserved that he should be in.
Me too. I'm biased too. Dan's such a good dude.
Great dude.
Joe's story is fascinating. He didn't, he's playing semi-pro ball after high school, and somehow he ended up at Temple. He dominated at Temple, but he didn't get a lot of respect where he was drafted late, and then he goes to the Jets and just crushes it. So I hope he gets in. So anyway, that's those. I thought some of those names on there are killers for that this season and going beyond. All right, so some birthdays. We have Sophia Loren, who's still with us at 88 years old. Sophia Loren, who go back and look at some old Sophia Loren. She was strong back in her day. So anyway, 88 years old. George R.R. Martin, Game of Thrones guy, author, 74 years old. Kristen Johnson, actress, is 55. One of my favorites, and you may not know the name when you hear it. You guys know who Gary Cole is?
No.
Gary Cole.
No, Gary Coleman Cole is an actor who's been in a ton of different things. You guys have seen Office Space, right?
Yep.
He plays Lundberg, the boss. I'm going to need you to come in on Saturday. That guy with the mug. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep, absolutely.
He's hilarious. Yep. But he's good in everything that he does, that guy. He's been in a lot of different stuff. Anyway, he's 66. Trayvon Diggs of the Cowboys is 25 years old. His brother had a pretty good game last night. Red Auerbach was born on this day in 1917. He was the architect of the Celtics for all those years. Hey, I saw this. This is very cool, too, while I'm on that. The Celtics are going to paint the number 6 in the lane this year, and I think a couple other spots on the court. They're they're honoring Bill Russell, who passed away. So they're going to do a lot of different tributes to him, who died. I think he was 88 also, who died this past summer. So that's all I got birthday wise. I don't know if you had any, Gunner. I got some movies too that we can.
Let's see. Did you miss
Young Jock?
Young Jock?
Yes,
Young Jock.
Jock's birthday. Yeah, Young Jock.
Yes. Happy birthday, Young Jock.
Who the heck is Young Jock?
A rapper. It's going down.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Everybody's young or Lil. Everybody's either Lil or young.
And they're like 50-year-old, someone so they young something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, little, And then that MMA fighter was saying, Khabib.
I couldn't pronounce it, so I stayed away from it.
Yeah, normal. I don't know. But y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it is.
Yeah, he's got the cauliflower ear.
Yeah,
that whole thing going on.
No, Rob, I can't think of I don't see any that jump out.
All right. The movies. Rambo: Last Blood came out.
That was a great
this
movie.
day, 2019.
You know you're geeked about that.
I can't get enough,
yeah.
man.
Oh,
Anything
man.
Stallone, sign me up. He's got a new one on Netflix, I think. I got to watch. I don't know. I forget what it's called.
Let's see. Stallone, Statham.
Yes.
Nielsen.
Yes.
Liam Neeson.
I've got a unique set of skills. Yes.
Let's see. Denzel in Equalizer.
Both Equalizers.
Keanu Reeves in John Wick, but still, guy gets shot 45 times, bleeding all over the place, and he gonna still kill 150 men. Little unbelievable, but
I'm still
the
in
action
though,
scene,
man. I'm in.
I'm still in, dude. My wife goes, "That's all you do is watch blood and guts and blowing up." I said, "What's your point?"
Yes.
But see, the all-timer, Special Victims Unit, SVU.
Yeah.
Premiered in 1999.
Oh my God.
Law and Order Special Victims Unit premiered in 1999 on today.
Oh.
Boom, drop mic.
Dude, that's a great one, by the way. Good
drop
ball.
mic. There we
What
go.
I think talking about?
I think that actually beat the regular Law and Order. That might have the longest run prior to it.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Samaritan. Thank you, Scott. It's called Samaritan on
Samaritan.
Peacock. Yeah.
The Cosby Show.
Did that debut this year?
Premiered in 1984.
Oh my God!
Oh, did it? What?
Yep.
Great show. Great show.
And then as the show became more of a hit, they did the open where they're in the tuxedos and the gowns. Do you remember?
Yep.
Oh
yeah. Yeah. It's a
And then Pan. Oh, you know what? Oh my goodness!
Pan.
No, that's
Pan?
not Pan. The Peter Pan movie is just called Pan.
Oh.
Nothing. It was nothing. No, I just
Downton Abbey, which it's not my cup of coffee, but whatever. That debut, the movie itself was 2019. Isn't that a TV show too?
Never saw.
My Name is Earl.
Never saw that.
My Name is Earl.
My Name was Earl was pretty good.
Yeah. What's his name? Jason Lee.
Yep.
I had Astra, which was a Brad Pitt movie. I didn't see about
I didn't see that either.
space. First Wives Club from 1997. Goldie Hawn, Bette Midler, and Diane Keaton came out that day. That's all I got. Movies. Barrett, some good polls with the TV shows.
Who's the Boss came out.
Who's the Boss? I love that.
Tony Danza.
1984.
I love that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it was classic 80s right there for sure. All right, I want to get back to this because we're going to dive a little bit deeper into it tomorrow with the sort of. We're still going to be certainly talking about this Vikings game, but then the look ahead starts. When it comes to, I'll ask you guys just your gut. When it comes to Carson Wentz, how do you feel? How do you feel about him? How do you look at it?
I try not to feel anything. I'm not even. I don't even like to talk about really Carson because I know he didn't get a fair shake, but I know he didn't deserve a fair shake. It's like to me, it's really hard for me to feel sorry for him. But I love that he's I love that he's a man of God, number one. But I frown when he frowns upon people that aren't of his faith and doesn't have time for him. I don't like that aspect of it.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
But I mean, as a player, there was a 5-month stint that he was the best quarterback in the NFL. A 5-month stint that he showed everybody that he was great.
Yeah.
And then
that's an interesting point. I do wonder, like, if he doesn't
get hurt.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different branches off that. Like, if he doesn't get hurt, did the Eagles win the Super Bowl? If he doesn't get hurt,
right?
Does this thing not come unglued? I mean, I guess how much of it was physical injuries versus the psychological damage of watching your backup quarterback win a Super Bowl?
And we don't talk about that much, but that is so real, bro.
Yep.
It is so real that your backup comes in and then you turn around and you get a second round backup and he just totally loses it.
Yeah.
He just totally lost.
Well, I want to know what you meant, Barry, by when you said he didn't get a fair shake. What do you mean?
I mean, he didn't get a fair shake because he didn't allow his he didn't allow himself to become the best player he can be. You know what I'm saying? I don't think the organization put him in a position to be the best player he can be.
I don't know. I think they rolled out the red carpet for him.
You think?
You know, they moved up and drafted him. They paid him a lot of money.
Mhm.
His second year in the league, now you can't control injuries, but they put the talent around him to succeed. Unfortunately, he was one of many who fell by the wayside and couldn't finish what they started. And then all of a sudden in 2018, he comes back. I don't know if it was him or the organization, you know, but if you look at what happened after that Super Bowl year, the offensive line was decimated by injuries, you know, and he took a butt whipping. Did he take that personal that the organization didn't get enough for him?
I think that's what I think that they, to me, it was like, all right, well, we don't think that you can muster up enough to be, you know, the quarterback of this team anymore. You just haven't stepped up to expectations.
You know, I think it was a combination of like his downfall here. I think it was a combination of he was not the same physically, and he was trying to do things on the field that he used to be able to do. I think that it definitely, and still to this day, affects him that he had to stand there and watch what unfolded with Foles. And even next year, he gets hurt again, and Foles wins a playoff game. We tend to forget about what that following year looked like. And
then you turn around and you draft the guys you drafted and try to make him use these players.
Yes.
You know, the receivers, the trash receivers. I mean, Donnell Pumphrey, man. I mean, what were you thinking about? What were you thinking about drafting him?
I know it was terrible. And then you draft a guy in the second round.
Yeah, exactly.
On top of it, because you clearly didn't trust him. I think it was all of that. He got the contract, started to snip himself a little bit, and became I got this. Like with the coaches.
He wouldn't listen, man. You got to listen, man.
Yeah.
The time when you start thinking that you know it all, that's when your downfall is coming, because you've always got to constantly be learning and honing your craft and knowing that, you know, anytime you're the smartest guy in a room, you got to go in a different room, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that he doesn't take constructive criticism very well. So he hurt himself. He really did hurt himself.
So he did all of this to himself. I'm just a little shocked that no matter how it went down in Philadelphia, he had a chance to reprieve himself in Indianapolis.
Yep.
And in one season, he destroyed his potential image in Indianapolis. His former offensive coordinator went to bat for him to get him there.
Yes.
He made the offensive coordinator look bad. It got so bad, the owner came out and trashed him publicly. And now he's got 1 foot out of the door. And when I say 1 foot out the door, I mean in terms of being a starter in the National Football League. I believe if he doesn't do it in Washington, that if he stays in this league, he'll be a backup somewhere. He'll be a habitual backup. Luckily, he made his money on the front end of his career, not the back end, because it's not about the money with him now. It's about proving that he can play at this level, proving that he can fit in, proving that he can be a viable entity with an organization, because those are all things that teams on the outside looking at him, how they perceive him right now.
Yep.
It's tough.
I think, Derek, that's a great point. Like there was a lot of stuff and a lot of baggage here in Philadelphia, which you can look at it either way. You can blame him, blame the Eagles, whatever.
Right,
Blame circumstances, right? But you get to Indy, you get a fresh start. You got your coach, a guy you're comfortable with. And if it doesn't work out there and they're willing to go public with it, to even hurting their own trade value, that's a bad sign. Now, in fairness to Wentz, we haven't, maybe it's only 2 games in, but we haven't heard any real horror stories yet in Washington.
No.
Right.
You know what I mean? In terms of like lack of connection with his teammates and all those kind of things. So maybe, just maybe, it served as a wake-up call. It's possible.
You can't even say, you can't even put him right now. You could, when he went to the Colts, you could say all things being equal, but you can't even say that now. You cannot say all things being equal, because it was definitely not equal. The way he treated them, he had everything you could want from a team going in there. You had a defense, you had the best running game in the league. You had a coach that believed in you, and you chose to not do what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's move off the guy who's gone onto the guy who's here, and just put a bow on this thing and what we saw last night. If this becomes the norm, I'm not saying he's going to play as great as he played last night every single game, but if this is closer to the norm rather than the guy that you said, well, he's got a lot of potential, and if he could just do this, if he could just do that, if this becomes more of the norm, credit more to him, to the organization for developing him, taking him to that next step, Sirianni, Steichen, et cetera. How do you hand out the congratulatory stuff when it comes to him?
I would say you start with him for taking it on himself to make himself better. And then a very close second has to be the coaching staff identifying what his strengths and weaknesses are and catering that offensive system to his strengths to make him a better NFL quarterback, because both have worked admirably through the first 2 games of the season.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think that's fair.
I couldn't say it any different because, he grabbed the reins and made it happen out there. But I think, Steichen called a great game.
Yeah.
Yes.
To put him in position also.
Yeah.
And then all the other pieces came together and played out of their mind too. So yeah, he wasn't him by himself, but he had a lot of help, but he sure did help himself.
Yes, he did.
Well, and I think you're seeing a guy who's willing to be coached and willing to get better. I mean, we know
Absolutely.
the intangibles are certainly there with Jalen and have been throughout his career. All right, that'll do it for us, fellas. Good job today. Want to thank Xander Krause. Hey, thanks to everybody for hitting that like button, because now I get to do the
Yeah.
Ooh, lucky me. So I will. I'm going to go to YouTube and find out how you do the gritty first.
Yeah,
off.
you got to go. You got to go to Justin Jefferson, to Gritty and Justin Jefferson, and they'll give you a game plan.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you got to go to the origins of where it came from. It actually came from a locker room in high school, but you'll see.
I thought Gritty was the Flyers mascot. Now I know it's a dance that I'm going to be doing tomorrow. All right. So thanks to everybody in the chat room. Thanks to everybody streaming. Thanks to everybody for listening. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be interesting with Dan. He's not been the biggest Jalen Hurts guy, but he is going to have to answer for that today. So you want to stay tuned for the National Football Show. Everybody, we'll see you tomorrow at the same time. Have a great, great Tuesday, everybody, from the gang at Sports Take.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community. A sports roundup for the locals. And the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey, we've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pond Lehocky a call.